Hello, my spookies. Thank you so much for joining me on this Freaky Friday for a compilation of some of the finest scary stories in our illustrious history. Tonight, we're diving into some of the most terrifying stories all about vampires, blood drinkers who hide in the night, who avoid the sunlight, and who can only be killed by very particular means. Some of these stories are creepy, some of them are even funny, but all of them will keep you enthralled as we keep the Halloween spirit alive, even in the summertime. So grab your cross, get yourself a nice bowl of fried garlic, and make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcasting app because we have something new and scary every week here at Weekly Spooky. Now bring on the bloodsuckers. Convenience Store Vampire by Douglas Waltz. After high school, I bummed around for the summer until I realized that being an adult meant having a job of some sort. Gas and food weren't going to pay for themselves. I was lucky that my mom hadn't kicked me out of the house yet. I was driving down Center Avenue and passed a Stop and Go. Stop and Go was a chain of convenience stores that tried to compete with 7-Eleven. It felt like they were every 5 blocks. No matter where you went, there was another one. This one had one of those little help wanted signs in the giant windows in the front next to the beer and cigarette posters. I figured I had nothing left to lose, so I pulled into the little parking lot, got out of my car, and went inside. All stop-and-go stores were identical. If you'd seen Kevin Smith's movie Clerks, you have a pretty good idea of what I was looking at. The biggest difference was the space behind the counter was elevated by about a foot, so you always had to look down on the customers. No idea why. And behind the counter was one Janet Rigby, the manager of this particular stop-and-go. Janet's measurements were the same as any human beach ball. She had fashioned a chair from 2 milk crates wired together. A glance at the bottom of the milk crate told me that the constant pressure of Janet setting on it was going to cause a collapse soon. Now I knew I needed the job. How could I miss the day she went for a tumble? I know it was mean, but at the tender age of 18, stuff like this was funny. We chatted for a minute and she let me know it would be a night shift. But this particular stop and go didn't stay open 24 hours a day. It closed at 2 a.m. Sounded good to me, so I was glad to start work the next day. Training took about an hour. I learned the register and how to make money orders. Apparently, a lot of people needed money orders. I met the other employee, Kathy, who was cute, but always had that look in her eye that she wished she was somewhere else. Other than that, I was ready to go, and Janet and Kathy left me to my own devices. Center Avenue is actually a pretty busy street in Portage, but my shift started after 5, so I didn't get much of a rush. Just a few customers straggling in at various times of the night. I was so happy to see the huge stacks of VHS tapes for rent in a rack that was positioned by the door. There was a little TV mounted to the rack that had a built-in VCR, and it had a tape that played previews of what we had to rent. I asked Janet if I could pick some movies to put on the rack, and she showed me how to fill out the form for the guy who showed up every other week. Being a huge horror movie fan, it didn't take long for the racks to have a pretty decent selection of horror movies. When it was slow, I would take out the preview tape and put in one of the movies I picked and just stand there with a can of soda and watch a movie. To give you an idea of how slow it was, one time I watched an entire movie before I heard the doorbell ping as someone opened it. As far as jobs for 18-year-olds go, it was pretty nice. One night I was watching this movie called Track of the Moon Beast. It's about this guy who gets a piece of moon rock embedded in him, and he turns into a monster. The VHS cover is gorgeous, but the movie is kind of, well, less than stellar. As I was watching it, I felt the short hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I turned around, and a vision of loveliness was standing behind me. Tall and lanky with a shock of platinum blonde hair. Her face was made up with a thin layer of makeup, and ruby red lipstick made her lips even more pronounced than they already were. She had on a t-shirt with the cover from the Clash London Calling album on it, and denim shorts with big, black work boots. Rainbow suspenders made popular by Robin Williams on Mork and Mindy complemented the rest of the outfit, and when I jumped upon seeing her, she flashed a huge smile with white, pearly teeth. "Sorry, didn't mean it to scare you," she giggled when she said it. "No problem," I replied, trying to sound cool and failing miserably. "What you watching?" "Oh, this? Yeah, Track of the Moon Beast. Guy gets infected by a moonstone that turns him into a monster." "Oh, I've seen this." Then she continued to stare at the screen, watching the movie with me. After a minute, I decided to be brave and said, "You want a soda? I can get you one for free if you want." "No, thanks." She continued to watch the screen in fascination. I found myself looking at her more than the monster movie. It was as if I was trying to memorize her face. It was like looking at someone made of porcelain. She caught me looking once, smiled, and went back to watching the movie. When it was over, we were the only people in the place, and she stretched like a cat before walking down the aisles, not really looking for anything. "You like the movie?" she asked. "It was okay," I lied. To be honest, my focus was entirely on her. Then something slipped into my mind. I hadn't heard the bell that goes off when you open the door. I always heard the bell. My brain had trained itself like a Pavlovian response. How did she get inside the store? I turned to ask her and realized that I was alone in the store. Not only did she get in without triggering the bell, but she had left the same way. I checked the back room where we kept the bottle returns, and there was nothing there. I even went in the cooler, and nothing. Empty. I shrugged to no one and finished my closing duties and left for the night. After a week, I was still wrapped up in that girl. She was all I could think of. I came to work hoping that she would return, and nothing happened. For about 2 weeks, I was stocking the coolers with beer from the inside. We had a couple of rows of singles for people that couldn't afford a six-pack. Pretty sure we weren't supposed to do that, but the boss told me it would be fine. I could grab 6 long-neck bottles in 2 hands, which made it go pretty fast. I learned to stack cans of beer along my arm, and it was about 6 cans. I was young and didn't want to actually do work, so I figured out the quickest way to do it. As I stood up with 6 cans of hams, a familiar face was outside the glass door of the cooler, smiling at me. I wasn't ready. I dropped all the cans. Luckily, only one of them spilt, and it whirled around the cooler, spraying hams everywhere. "Shit!" I exclaimed and went into cleanup mode. I needed some paper towels and the mop probably, so I stepped out of the cooler right into the girl, standing there, waiting for me. "I'm sorry," she said sheepishly. "It's okay," I stammered and cursed myself for it. I hadn't heard the bell again. That was even weirder because there was a bell in the cooler in case you were working and a customer came in. How the hell was she not setting off the goddamn bell? I went in the back for the mop and paper towels, and when I returned to the cooler, she was still there. "Let me help." She took the roll of paper towels and went into the cooler before I could say anything. I followed with the mop. We cleaned up the mess and I restocked the shelves. She stood there the whole time, watching me. "So, I never got your name the other night when we were watching the movie," she said quietly. "It's Arthur. What's yours?" "My name's Elizabeth." And she smiled that amazing smile again, and I could feel the blood rush into my head. She tilted her head and looked at me as if I was some new form of life. and then she slowly moved towards me and kissed me on the lips. I felt my entire body tingle with electricity and was amazed at how cold her lips were. Then I remembered we were in the cooler, and I kissed her back. After a few minutes of that, she gently pushed me away. I was amazed at how strong she was. "I have to go," she said, and walked out of the cooler. It took me a second to regain my bearings, and I followed her out. In that split second, I discovered I was again alone in the store. The bell broke my train of thought, and it was one of my regular customers, Old Man Johnson. He was the only reason we stocked hams. No one else ever bought a single can of that stuff, but Old Man Johnson would buy a case every 3 days or so, without fail. We chatted for a bit like we always did. He asked me if House by the Cemetery was worth a rental, and I told him it was, so he got that with his beer and headed out the store. 2 weeks went by before I saw Elizabeth again. This time I was just hanging out at the counter, so she had no way of sneaking up on me. I had been counting packs of cigarettes as one of my nightly duties and was looking down, but something triggered my peripheral vision, and I saw her approach the counter. After that, it was always a couple of weeks, and we talked, watched movies, and kissed sometimes. Then one day I came into work, and Janet was staring at me. "Arthur, come with me," she said in a serious tone, and I followed her to the back room. There was a door that I had never even seen before, and she fished a key from her smock and opened it. The room was dark except for 4 monitors that showed various areas of the store. I knew we had security cameras, but I didn't know this room in here was what it fed into. "Cool room, boss." Janet grunted and then messed with the control panel. The next thing I saw was me at the counter. No one else in the store. But I was talking to someone. I was just flipping through various time codes on the monitors when I spotted this. "Arthur, who are you talking to here?" I was grateful that the cameras were video only, no audio. I was also glad that she hadn't come across one where Elizabeth and I were kissing. I was just bored and messing around. I leaned closer to the monitor, and Janet watched me look at the screen. "Man, it does look like I'm talking to someone. Looks really good. Maybe I should be an actor or something." I gave a nervous laugh. Janet nodded, and then she laughed her big, booming laugh. "I figured as much. You're a good kid, Arthur, and you don't steal from the store, except for the occasional can of pop." She looked at the watch that barely fit around her huge wrist. "Well, time for you to go to work and time for me to get the hell out of here. Let's go." She ushered me out of the room and back to my shift. That night, I located the 4 cameras and tried to find a dead spot, a place where none of them could see me if Elizabeth returned. As I was running the math through my mind, I found it odd that the fact that she didn't register on the camera was the least of my concerns. With each meeting, all I knew is that I would count the days until she returned. It was all I wanted. I got my wish a few days later, but it came at a terrible price. I was sweeping the floors when I saw her come through the door. Again, no bell. She saw me and waved, and I continued to sweep the floor so I could lead her to the dead spot by the giant display of 2-liter soda bottles in the back corner of the store. She came up and hugged me, and we kissed. Then I heard the bell. A guy came in, and his wide eyes darted everywhere. He seemed confused that there was no one manning the counter. I spoke up and walked to my post behind the counter. As I was about to ask how I could help him, the gun came out. Every pore of my body released all the sweat that had been lying beneath the surface. All I could see was that gun, and I was amazed at how huge it was. He shouted at me to give him the money from the register. My hands felt like they belonged to someone else as I fumbled with the keys to open it. He shouted at me to move it or he was going to shoot me, and I got it open and put the meager stack of bills in a bag for him. He didn't ask for a bag, but I did it anyway. As I went to hand him the bag, I saw Elizabeth behind him. She appeared as if by magic, and her mouth had opened to an impossible degree, and all I could see was the huge, sharp fangs. As they plunged into the guy's neck, he twitched and fired at me point blank. I could feel a white-hot pain lance through my chest, and I knew I was done for. Everything went dark, and then I woke up screaming, sitting up immediately. I looked at my chest, and while the shirt was bloody, there was no hole. Nothing. And there was the porcelain-smooth, beautiful face of Elizabeth. She was stroking my hair and smiling at me. Then she explained everything. When the man shot me, she knew that she could never lose someone who had been so sweet to her. Someone who just wanted to be with her. She told me she was a vampire and had used her powers to turn me into a vampire before I had bled out and died. I asked about the guy with the gun, and she just blew it off and shushed me as she continued to stroke my hair. Then she told me the rules of vampirism. A lot of them were what you would expect, but some movies just got it all wrong. Garlic, for instance, and we could eat food if we wanted. I looked at all the blood in the store, and when I suggested we clean it up, she shook her head. Dawn was approaching, and that thing about sunlight was totally true. I grabbed a piece of paper from the back counter and a pen, and in huge letters I wrote, "I quit." Elizabeth and I stepped out into the night and into an eternity of never-ending love. Blood Rage by Rob Fields. It's been 7 months since I spoke to you. I believe it was during the winter, when I was sick with the flu. At the time, I was after Delphine Brewster Sloane's daughter, Rigby, who had gone on a murder spree, all because of her love for Franklin Sloane. Delphine's stepson turned into an obsession. I had Rigby prepared and was ready to claim her to satisfy my bloodlust. Unfortunately, my sickness became my undoing, and it nearly killed me. This allowed Rigby to escape. She's still out there as of now, which is 7 months from that time. Franklin and I haven't really talked. Delphine still calls me to check up on me and make sure I'm okay. I've been doing everything I can to keep my sex drive in control, but I'm to the point where I must mate. It has also been some time since I've claimed a victim. In addition to my sex drive, my bloodlust is also pushing me. It's late August. The summer semester has ended. The fall semester won't begin for 2 more weeks. I currently work as a college intern for the Strickfield Police Department. However, I'm also a serial killer. I'm sitting alone in my dorm room at Strickfield University, brushing my shoulder-length dirty blonde hair. I almost always never have a roommate. For the record, I have never killed any of my roommates. Not when all of them were innocent. During my time here at Strickfield U, I've had a grand total of 3 roommates. 1 flunked out, 1 got pregnant, and 1 left to live with her boyfriend. I sigh when I think about how I've lived in this dorm room, alone. It's good for being a serial killer, however, I'm in desperate need of a mate. Then I hear a knocking at my door. I put my brush down and go to see who it is. I open the door to see my potential new mate, Detective Drake Kazmierak. "Morning, Rage." I fake a smile. "Hey, you." When I see he's got food in his hands, I step aside and invite him in. "We've got a case," Drake says. "I brought you breakfast." Then he hands me the coffee he's picked up from our campus coffee house, The Bitter End, and breakfast from Denoyer's Grill. I remember that Drake lives 1 block from my dorm. The smell of dark roast coffee and the pancakes trigger that physical sensation of hunger. I want to sit down, to eat, but Drake is quick to tell me, "We need to go now. You can eat your breakfast on the way." "Let me put my shoes on and we'll leave," I say. After I put my sandals on, Drake and I walk to the other side of the campus, to the fraternity houses. Soon we're at the one we need to go into. I was able to wolf down my breakfast, but I still had my coffee in hand. Two physical tastes that I really enjoy in life: coffee and pancakes. Two officers are in the bedroom when we come in. They explain that a fraternity brother came back and found the body. As long as Drake is with me, I'm free to act as if I'm a full-fledged detective. He lets me walk around and look for clues. The first thing I check is the body, which I quickly notice is very pale. And then I see the two telltale puncture marks on the left side of his neck. I've seen enough on the body and look around the bedroom. I find nothing else of great importance. "Find anything, Devereaux?" Drake asks me. "No," I say. Drake examines the body himself. Then he looks around the bedroom, but he doesn't find anything. No doubt he'll want to talk to me when we're alone. As soon as Drake tells the officers to go and radio in for the coroner, he does just that. "I know you know something, Rage." I give him a blank look. There's no point in lying to him. He'll stay on me until I give him what he wants. "You're not going to believe me." "Talk to me," he insists. "Did you see the two marks on the neck?" I ask. "Yeah, hard to miss. What about him?" I just come right out with it. "It's a vampire." Drake gives me a funny look. "What?" "I told you you wouldn't believe me. I'm dead serious here, Drake. It's a vampire." He gives me another odd look. "I think you're hitting the books way too hard, Rage." "Fine. I'll go look for the vampire myself," I tell him. He quickly takes gentle hold of my forearm. "No, you can't, honey. Remember, you are still my intern until you graduate, which won't be for another year yet. You have to have me with you in order to conduct an investigation on your own." I fake a smirk. "Okay then, detective. Come with me. I'll prove to you that this was indeed a vampire and that vampires are quite real." Our eyes meet. Then Drake leans in and kisses me softly on the lips. I've known for many months that he feels emotions for me. In fact, I knew that from the first day we met, many months ago, when Chief Kazmirak, Drake's uncle, told him that he was to be my mentor from that point on. The chief also told me that we would be full partners once I graduated from the university and come to work for him full time. This isn't the first time that Drake's kissed me like this. I wrap my arms around him and kiss him back. I've read Drake's emotions and know that he's fallen in love with me. Also, I'm not blind to his true purpose for coming to Strickfield. He's looking to find the angel of death and put an end to everything. But what he doesn't know is that he's kissing the angel of death, the name the media has given me as a serial killer. Regardless, I've decided that this man, who is 17 years older than me, will be my new mate. For the record, I'm 21. We stop kissing. Then I tell him, if we're caught doing this, we could both be in a lot of trouble. We're supposed to be professional in a student-teacher manner. We've been seeing each other for months, Drake whispers to my lips. Are you going to tattle? I'm just saying those two officers could come back at any moment, I whisper back. Drake can't resist me and kisses me again. I kiss him back. I need him so badly that I almost lose control, but I stay focused on just kissing him. When we stop kissing, I take his hand. Let me show you that I'm not making this up. It is a vampire. How do you know, though, Rage? Drake demands. Because I've killed 3 of them before, I admit, without hesitation. Yes, I'm taking a big risk in telling him this, but he needs to know and understand. It's also part of my plan, which you'll find out about later. I raise my hand and show him a book of matches. I did find another clue on the body. Drake looks at it. Shakers. You weren't going to tell me, were you? No, but now that you know, you have to come with me. He's still holding me to him. Damn right I'm coming with you. Come on, we'll go investigate Shakers together. We'll have to wait until they open at 4. They're closed now. Fine. I'll come by and pick you up at 3:30. We share one more passionate kiss before he walks me back to my dorm. Drake and I walk into Shakers, a bar on the outskirts of the village that Strickfield University students tend to frequent. One of the workers is there when we walk in. We ain't open for another 15 minutes, he says. Drake shows him his badge. That's okay, we just want to talk to you. Were you here last night? Yeah, I close most every night, he replies. Drake shows him a picture of the victim. He look familiar to you? Yeah, he comes in here and drinks quite a bit, usually with his fraternity. Don't worry, he's over 21. I know he just graduated. Last night was goth night. He was in here with some different people. Goth people, shiny leather, dressed in black, look pale. He's been in here with them a couple of times. He was sure drunk off his ass last night. Do you know where the goth people came from? I ask. I mean, do you think they're from the university or maybe from somewhere else? He starts to tell us he doesn't really know, but then he stops himself. Hold it. Let me get into the computer real quick. It's one of those computers that doubles as a cash register. We wait for him as he touches the computer screen repeatedly. Then, got the record right here. Everything was paid for with a credit card. The transactions are still here. The card the guy used didn't have a signature on the back, so I had to ask for some ID. It was a student ID from North Ridgeway University. He hands me a copy of the ID. We always scan the IDs in case of card fraud. We ask him a few more questions before we head out. As soon as we're back in Drake's car, we both look at the printout again. Looks like we're heading home, honey. What, you need to go to class? Drake asks quickly. I thought you were done. No, I mean, we need to head to North Ridgeway. That's where I'm from. You do realize we have no jurisdiction in North Ridgeway, right? Drake asks. We don't. You're right. Then I fake an apologetic look. Maybe I'd better do this on my own. Drake shakes his head quickly. Not happening, Rage, I told you. I know what you said, I cut in, but the person I can get to help us is with the North Ridgeway PD, and I'm telling you right now, you do not want to meet her. She's my mom, and she will eat you alive. What, because I may be seeing you? Drake asks with a wicked smile. I fake a sneer. You are seeing me, but Mama may want you all to herself. She's one wickedly wild cougar. I'll take my chances with your mom. I sigh and shake my head slowly. Okay, you were warned. Mama answers the front door and is so delighted. Baby, you finally came home. Then she sees Drake. And who is this yummy guy? She looks at me again. Are you fucking him? Because if you aren't, I'll gladly take him. Drake is immediately caught off guard when he sees and hears Mama and looks mortified. I take his hand and give him a sympathetic look that says, I warned you. Here's the best way I can describe how Mama differs from me. Physically, I've overheard men at the campus describe me as a really hot chick. They've even commented on how big my tits are, but Mama, she's 50, but looks like she could easily pass for around 30 to 35. She's got a very hot body of her own, complete with long, wavy red hair that practically burns like fire, sparkling green eyes, six-pack abs, and even bigger tits than mine. I'll let you in on a little secret. Mama's tits are fake. She got them done when she was actually 30, as a birthday present to herself. Mine are, indeed, all natural, and Mama sometimes looks at me with jealousy because of it. Mama looks at me with a devilish grin. Baby, did you come home to tell Mama that you're going to marry this man? Drake is mortified again. Oh my God. I let go of Drake's hand and take Mama's. Drake and I are on a very important case right now. I'm still an intern at Strickfield PD, and he's my mentor. We came here to look for somebody. A vampire. Mama gets real serious now. Inside. She steps aside and lets us come in. Mama's got a huge house, enough for a good 10 people to live in. This is the house I was raised in. Ever since I left for Strickfield University, she still chooses to live here, all by herself. Since Mama's still the hot cougar, she's out getting as many young college studs as she can. I catch her stealing peeks at Drake, and I know I have to keep him with me. If Mama gets him alone and works her feminine charms on him, she'll completely devour him. This woman has both incredible energy and a very high libido. As ravishing as she still looks at 50, almost no man can say no to her. Mama stops checking out Drake for the moment and motions for us to come to the den where she keeps her computers. You sure you're after a vampire, baby? Positive. I tell her about the puncture marks we found on our victim. Drake hesitates, but he points a shaky finger at Mama. You mean you actually believe in vampires too? Mama looks him right in the face. If baby tells you it's a vampire, then you better fucking listen to her. I've had plenty of dealings with those blood-sucking motherfuckers myself. I taught baby everything I know about vampires, among other things. I hand Mama the picture from Shakers. Have you seen this guy before? She shakes her head slowly. I don't believe so. That's why I've got this computer. She puts the photo into a scanner next to the black computer, her dark web computer. About a minute later, a graphic display appears of the guy. Maximilian Thorne. With a name like that, he's likely to be a vampire. She turns to us. And you came to me because your lead is here, and you need a cop from North Ridgeway to assist you. Correct, I reply. But Drake is very observant. Wait a minute. Assuming vampires are real, aren't they supposed to not cast a reflection? Mama's quick. Some vampires use old bloodstone to let them cast a reflection. That's old with an E on the end. Mama turns to me and folds her arms in front of her. You know, baby, I was expecting you home for Christmas. If I didn't know better, I'd swear you were avoiding me. Am I really that bad of a mama to you? Do I really embarrass you that much? I tell Mama that I stayed in Strickfield to help work cases with the police, which is true. Also, I've had to claim victims from a few of those same cases. In other words, Mama does not know that baby is a serial killer. Mama sighs. Unfortunately, that's one of the many sacrifices that comes with the badge. This is what you get for wanting to follow in my footsteps, baby. Drake brightens up. You're a detective too? Mama shows him her badge. Detective Chantel Devereaux, North Ridgeway PD. And yes, I'll help you with your vampire. In fact, I know where all the vampire hotspots are here in the city. Later that night, the three of us leave the house. This time we hop into Mom's fire engine red Corvette. Believe me, she loves tearing up the streets with her favorite toy. She speeds down one street, then another. Eventually, she veers right into the parking lot of a nightclub called After Hours. After going inside and looking around, we don't find anyone matching the description of the photo. We get back in the Corvette and go to a second club, Dark Paradise. No luck there. Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm when we arrive at Noir. As soon as we show the photograph to a bartender, she points Maximilian Thorne out. We approach him to talk. As soon as Mama flashes her badge, he throws his drink in her face and turns to run. Drake is very surprised at my agility when I put my hands on the table and leap right up on top of it. Then I launch myself and tackle Maximilian to the floor. He snatches me up and shows me his fangs before he shoves me away so hard that I fall and slide almost all the way to the jukebox. Looks like Maximilian Thorne is our vampire. Drake comes and helps me up. Your mom's already after him. Come on. Drake and I catch up with Mama as she finally tackles the vampire. He's about to turn and face Mama when I come to her side. I remove my necklace, a crucifix, and hold it out to the vampire. When he's clearly not being affected, Mama shoves my arm down and produces her own crucifix. Thorn raises his hands in front of him now. I can tell Mama's pissed at me. Reagan, how many motherfucking times do I have to tell you? You need to have faith if you want your cross to work on these fucking things. How many times? She only called me Reagan when she was upset with me. Sorry, Mama, I say. She sighs and speaks calmly. I'm sorry I went off on you, but this is very important. She puts a hand on my forearm. Remember where you came from and who raised you right, baby. Mama still holds her cross as she grabs Maximilian by his hair. Now you motherfucker, you were at a bar called Shaker's over in Strickfield. I suggest you tell my baby girl here everything that she wants to know. Maximilian seems ready to argue with Mama, but then he sees me and suddenly becomes very scared. What the hell are you? No doubt he's seeing what many of my past victims have called my evil face. They've said that my eyes have glowed red and/or that I'm pure evil. I've often wondered how I can be truly evil if I'm protecting innocence time and time again. For the record, I have never taken an innocent life, not even when my bloodlust is nagging me to be satiated. Every serial killer has a code they follow, and I have mine. Mama raised me to be a good girl. I truly believe that it was because of her teachings and values that I destroy the scum that I find and leave the innocents alone. Killing innocents is a line I will never cross. Maximilian spews out everything he knows to Mama, just like that. He reveals that it was his sister, whose name is Sharanda, that drank the fraternity boy. Apparently, he thought she was going to turn him, but she only intended to feed. Maximilian tells Mama that Sharanda's crypt is in the big cemetery a few blocks from the university. We listen as he gives us all the details. Then he points to me. Just keep her away from me. Mama looks right at me. Then she turns back to him. What is your problem with my daughter? Maximilian points at me again. Trust me, you do not know what true evil is. And he just pissed Mama off. She produces a stake and jams it right into his heart. He dies after some twitching and shrivels up until he becomes bones. He's not a master vampire, so we don't also have to decapitate him. Mama turns to Drake and me. Okay, I've got weapons in the car. I can tell you right now that this Sharanda is not going to be alone. She suddenly reaches out and slaps Drake's shoulder. Hey, head in the game, boy. You just saw one vampire. Shit's about to get real from here. Now's not the time to be a fucking pussy, especially when you're fucking my baby girl. But, Drake sputters, again caught off guard by Mama. Let's get going, Mama says. We enter the North Ridgeway Memorial Cemetery. It's still summer, but it happens to be a cool night. Fog is all over the graveyard. I can read Drake's face and know that he's scared. Personally, I can't blame him. He's finally learning that vampires are real. We follow Maximilian's directions until we come to the crypt he told us about. We have to whisper to talk to each other for the moment. There's a vamp outside, Mama, I tell her. How do you know he's a vampire? Drake asks. Use your mirror. There's enough light by the crypt. Turn the mirror around and look. Drake gasps and nearly drops his mirror. I catch it and give it back. Careful and be quiet. Vampires have very, very good hearing. No telling how many of those fucking bloodsuckers are inside, Mama tells us. We're just going to have to launch an all-out assault. She glances at Drake as he's holding a weapon Mama gave him. Remember, aim for the heart. Mama holds up her hand and counts her fingers down from 5 to 0. Now we move. Mama takes down the vampire outside by firing a stake into his heart. He doesn't even scream as he falls over and dies. We enter the crypt and find 4 more vampires, including a girl. She must be Sharanda. The vampires see the 3 of us and stand up. They show us their fangs and produce their claws. Drake and I don't give them time to think. We both fire our weapons and catch 2 of them in the heart with stakes. I breathe with satisfaction as my bloodlust is finally sated. That just leaves the one remaining male vampire, and Sharanda. You won't stop me, Sharanda hisses, transforming into a giant bat. Then she flies right past us. Baby, I've got this, Mama. I turn and run out of the crypt and pursue Sharanda. Using the skills I've accumulated both from Mama and my many years as a serial killer, I track Sharanda to another part of the cemetery. You should have never left your pack, Sharanda purrs at me. Someone has to destroy you, I tell her. You killed that fraternity boy and left him dead in his room. She laughs, coldly. He thought he was so special because he was in our company. He wanted to become one of us. He thought we were just glamour and high society. So I seduced him and finished him off by drinking him dry. And by your admission, you've just condemned yourself into my hands, I say. Sharanda laughs again and raises her claws. I produce a crucifix and bring her to her knees. I already know the real truth about crosses. Faith in a crucifix doesn't mean belief in God or religion. It means believing that the crucifix will truly protect you. My lack of faith earlier was all just an act. And though I did kill one vampire a little bit ago, which satiated my bloodlust, I still want to kill Sharanda. Sharanda shrieks and launches herself at me to make me drop my cross. The two of us fight now. Like I told Drake, I've already bested 3, now 4 other vampires. Thanks to my photographic memory, I know how they operate and can anticipate their moves. Sharanda makes the big mistake of trying to warp behind me. I have a bottle of holy water in my hand and bring it up fast to splash her right in her face. She screams and covers her head as she falls to her knees. Then she finds out I'm much stronger than I look when I quickly raise my foot to her chin and connect hard enough to knock her out. Sharanda wakes up to find that she's secured to the top of a burial vault in the middle of another crypt. I've got her bound with bungee cords and a crucifix just above her heart. No! You've bound me with your accursed cross, she growls. You've weakened me. I can't move. Yes, and now you belong to me. I show her my smartphone. I don't know every victim you've killed, but I do have one picture to show you. Remember the fraternity boy you killed? His name was Sheldon Hayes. He may have been trying to get in with your group, but he hadn't taken a life. He was still innocent. You killed him in cold blood, and now I claim you. Sharanda laughs. You think you're going to end the killing with just me? Oh, I know there are many more of you out there, I assured her. But right now, I'm only concerned with you. Tonight, you're going to be my latest victim. You're bound by that crucifix, which means you're staying right where you are. Sharanda locks her eyes with mine and tries to glam me. But she's in for a surprise that one of her kind would never expect. She winces and finally starts screaming, seeing that I'm not like other human beings. She finally turns her eyes away from mine. Like her dead brother, she also demands, What the fuck are you? You're true evil incarnate. Now she's really frightened. Get away from me! I caress the side of her face. Tonight, your time as a vampire will end. I produce a stake and raise it. And now, Sharanda Thorne, let the punishment fit the crime. Sharanda screams as I bring the stake down with both hands and drive it right through her heart. I moan in great satisfaction as I feel my bloodlust being satiated for the second time tonight. Yes, vampires are undead creatures, but my bloodlust doesn't care about that. It's still a kill, and now she joins my hundreds upon hundreds of kills that are neatly logged in my photographic memory. I watch Sharanda shrivel up until she's nothing more than bones. Not a master vampire. Rage! I turn around to see Drake standing there. What did you see? I ask him. He raises his hands. Okay, I'm a believer now, and I know I definitely don't want to make you mad. If I could feel humor, I'd probably find this statement funny. Perhaps one day I'll finally come to know emotions and feel humor. Drake had seen everything. This is the first time that anyone has seen me perform a kill. In this case, that works in my favor. and was all part of my plan. If Drake ever suspected me of being the angel of death, this should throw him off my trail. Mama finds me and congratulates me on my kill. The three of us talk about how we're going to close the case of Sheldon Hayes. Since we destroyed all the vampires responsible for his murder, Mama suggests just letting the case be cold. Drake is quick to agree with her. We head back to Mama's house so that Drake and I can get in his car and head back to Strickfield. Of course, Mama tells me not to be a stranger and to come home more often. She also tells Drake that if he hurts me in any way, then he's going to answer to her. If you only knew, Mama. If you only knew. When we return to Strickfield University, I let Drake walk me back to my dorm. He tells me to let him do all the talking to his uncle about our case. He assures me everything will be all right. When we reach my dorm, I unlock and open my door. Well, I guess I'll see you at the station tomorrow, Drake says. I sense he really doesn't want to leave me, and I know I can't let him go. I take his hand. Stay here with me. It's just me here, I don't have any roommates. Drake seems uncertain. Should we be doing this? Like you said earlier, I'm your mentor and you're my intern. Our eyes meet. We've kept our dating a secret all this time, I remind him. Drake and I quickly move into the dorm. He kicks the door shut as we share a deep, passionate kiss. When we come apart, I take his hand again and lead him to my bed. My sex drive is literally screaming at me as we undress each other. I finally have a mate again. The next morning, Drake and I enter the Strickfield PD with bags of Denoyer's Grill in our hands. We exchange morning pleasantries with Drake's uncle before we head to the break room. Since we're alone, we put our food down so Drake can pull me to him and kiss me. You think your uncle knows? I ask. I really don't care if Uncle Jeffrey knows, Drake replies. I'm not going to kick you to the curb if he does. You do, and Mama will be after you. Literally, I remind him. I can tell Drake's still intimidated by Mama. I put his mind at ease when I kiss him. Then he looks into my eyes. I love you, he says. I just return his look and caress the side of his face. After that, we sit down and have breakfast. He tells me he's frustrated that he hasn't been able to catch the angel of death yet. I know I'm in a very dangerous situation now and must always stay many steps ahead of him. Oh yes, Drake, you truly have captured the angel of death. More than you realize, my mate.
The Bad Schoolgirl by Rob Fields.
I walk into the main entrance of Strickfield High School with Aileen Donnerly, or just simply Einstein. Einstein was a name her older brother Martin hung on her because of how unbelievably smart she is. How smart exactly is she? Well, over that blizzard weekend, Martin and I had just finished having some hot morning fucking. We stopped for some pillow talk and he told me that Einstein once took his HD TV apart. She easily put it back together, but now he could access all of the satellite channels and streaming services for free. She even doubled the picture quality. I look at the geek now and just want to wring her fucking neck, but of course I won't. The problem with Einstein is that she's always so fucking direct with me. She never sugarcoats shit. For example, I asked her why I fucking put up with her. I would have expected her to say, because I'm sleeping with Martin, but no, she says it's because she's so cute that I really like her. I do have to admit, Einie is cute. I also have to admit the little shit does grow on you. We're walking the halls of Strickfield High, and I know I'm in hell. Just a few days ago, I had to deal with Jaren Hatley when she was on the ultimate caffeine high and tried to send Principal Matthew Van Diest on a permanent vacation. Speaking of whom, he's standing right outside the door of the main office, and he's eyeing both me and Einie. I'll tell him to fuck off if he says something to me, but he doesn't. He's definitely checking me out, all right. Either he's got an eye for me, or it's the fact that I'm wearing this fucking schoolgirl outfit again. Plaid miniskirt, white blouse with the sleeves torn off and tied up to my tummy, and my 80s Reebok pump basketball shoes. I've been wearing this fucking outfit because if I wear any of Einie's other clothes, I'd feel batshit claustrophobic and shred them, and I don't really want to go shopping for new clothes. Okay, Einie, where are these vampire cheerleaders you want me to check out? I ask. They usually hang out in the North Hall, Einie replies in her mousy voice. This way. I let Einie lead me to said hallway. Sure enough, 6 cheerleaders are huddled together and yakking away. I immediately see the items of old bloodstone they're wearing as jewelry. Old is spelled old, with an E on the end. See, I'm the only vampire who can truly walk freely in the daylight. These bitches are using old bloodstone to be able to walk in the daytime and not burn. Einie and I just walk right past them. Then I start hearing nearby jocks whooping and hollering. Turns out they're doing it to me. It's the Bad Schoolgirl. You're such a badass. Will you marry me? How about a date, babe? And that definitely pisses off the cheerleaders. Remember, most cheerleaders love the attention since they are at the top of the food chain in the female circuit of high schools. Now that they've seen me, they're not going to be so happy. In fact, they all turn towards me and advance. The hallway gets quiet in a big fucking hurry. I'm ready to defend Einie if they decide to vamp out. Who said you could walk our hallway, bitch? Alyssa Mirren demands. Her twin sister Allie grins. This is our hallway. You need special permission to walk it. How much money you got? The other 4 just look on in anticipation. I really feel the need to laugh. I'll let you in on a little secret. Being the one unique type of vamp that I am means that I can detect other vamps, whether they're master or not. Now, these bitches are just regular vamps, which means they think I'm completely human. Only other master vamps can detect me. In this case, they don't notice. My eyes are red. I give them the same sexy smile that Martin loves so much. Oh, you two are so cute. I raise my finger. How about this? You two can take turns sucking my dick, and I'll come and go wherever the fuck I like. The twins just look at each other, mouths wide. They're ready to start a full-on fight with me. I quickly raise my arm. Now's not the time. I give them a quick nod to my right. They look to see Principal Van Diest staring attentively down this hallway. The twins each raise a hand, telling the others to back off. We'll let you go this one time, as a courtesy, Allie says. Next time you come down here, you'll be paying, Alyssa adds. I laugh as Einie and I turn and walk away. Einie asks me, You think that was wise, Bells? What, pissing them off? Fuck yeah, they'll be looking for me. Exactly what I want. I lightly slap her shoulder. Don't worry, I've got a plan. And then I smell Principal Van Diest coming our way. I wait for him to reach us. What can I do for you on this very fine day, sir? I crack, not even turning around. He takes hold of my shoulder and turns me around. Look, I know you're new here, but we don't need you starting trouble already. I smile. No trouble. No trouble at all. Like you said, I'm new here. Just want to get familiar with my new school. He glares at me. I heard what you said to those girls. Yeah? And? You gonna take me to the office and wash my mouth out with soap? Then I glare back and tell him where only he and Einie can hear me. I would love to see you try. He's irritated with me, but he knows he can't really do anything. Then I show him my schedule. Room 237 is first period. Far as I'm concerned, we're allowed to walk the halls freely to get to our classes. Maybe you should say something to the cheerleaders. Unless that is, of course, they're in charge here. When he doesn't answer me, I flash my sexy smile again. Way I see it, the students run this school. You're just here collecting a paycheck. If you really do run things here, then fucking grow a pair. As I turn to leave, he grabs my arm again. Don't you test me. I'm still smiling my sexy smile. That's more like it. I take my arm back. Now fuck off and help make this school a better place. Einie and I turn away from the principal and resume heading to room 237. The cheerleaders just glare at us as we walk right past them. I even make sure to flip the twin bees off. Throughout the day, I end up having classes with both Einie and members of the cheerleading squad. I can easily keep an eye on said people. The downside is that several horny boys are keeping their eyes on me. I hadn't planned on being labeled the Bad Schoolgirl, but what could I do? I couldn't just let Jaren Hatley have her way with Principal Van Diest. Oh well. I don't have to be the least bit afraid of the boys. I catch an occasional glare from whatever cheerleaders are in my classes, but I just give them right back. Thanks to my ultra-sensitive hearing, another master vampire quality, I can easily hear the cheerleaders talking. Tonight is a basketball game in the gym. After the game, they're meeting the boys for their ritual. They don't say where. Yeah, you bitches do that. You go hunt for your victims, and I'll hunt all of you. That night, Einie and I are just outside the gym. Sure enough, the cheerleaders are inside and the game is going on. What are you going to do, Bells? Einie asks me. Oh, I think I'll head on in and watch the game, I tell her. I can tell Einie's a little scared. You can go home if you want. I can handle those bitches. Einie shakes her head quickly. No, I got you into this. I'm going to see it through. I turn my attention back to the gym. Me too. Then I can move on. Now Einie's gone from scared to upset. No! We can talk about this later, I say. No! Einie grabs my wrist and pulls me into the empty library. Then she points right at me. You are not going to just up and leave Martin like that. I fold my arms in front of me. I asked you this before. I'll ask you again. Am I just supposed to wear Martin's college ring? Look, I only stayed because you told me there were vampires on the cheerleading squad. Okay, I confirmed they're vampires, and I'll deal with them. Once I do, then that's it. I'll give your uniforms back and get my shit and finally leave Strickfield. Einstein's really pissed now. She shakes her head. I said no. You are not walking out on Martin like that. He's really into you. She points right at me. And not just because you're fucking him. I narrow my eyes on her. What are you saying? That Martin's in love with me? I don't buy that. We've only known each other for about a week. We're just sleeping together, Einie. That's it. And you... What are we supposed to be, besties? Hang out at the mall together and do each other's nails? I'm over 100 fucking years old. I hunt supernatural vermin. I'm a fucking Tabon. I'm a master vampire. A normal life will never be in my future. Why can't you understand that? Stop acting all high and mighty, Bells, Einie snaps, and stop running away all the time. Who the fuck is running away? I demand. I don't have any family left to run away from. I'm the last in my family tree. I'm alone in this world, and that's the way it has to be. I unfold my arms and raise my finger. Has it ever occurred to you that my being in your house is potentially putting you and Martin in terrible danger? All an enemy would have to do is know that I'm staying with you both, and they'll come at me through the two of you. I point to the gym. Case in point, those bitches know you're with me. What's to keep them from attacking your house? Einie and I continue to argue. Some of Einie's shit gets to be repetitive. I've finally had enough and walk out of the library. Einie's right behind me. We're not done here, Bells. You're risking bodily harm, Einstein. I tell her when she grabs my wrist again. You are not just going to up and leave Martin like that, Einie hisses. I don't turn to her. I really don't have time for this shit right now. We'll talk about it when we're done with what I'm here for. I look inside the gym. Fuck! The game's over. The cheerleaders are gone. I turn to Einie. I could have been keeping an eye on those bitches, but no, you had to get all fucking emotional on me. I turn to her. Why don't you just go home? I'm gonna have to track them down now, before they hurt innocents. You're just slowing me down here. I march right into the gym to start tracking the vampire bitches. Unfortunately, I can hear Einie crying behind me. I can't worry about that right now. But then, I suddenly stop, dead in my tracks. God damn it! Thornton Gillian never had any fucking feelings when he was a master vampire. You'd think that when his blood mixed with mine, I'd have no feelings either. True, I'm a master vampire, but I'm my own breed. I still have my humanity, which means I still have feelings, and now I feel like a complete piece of shit for hurting Einie's feelings. I turn around and walk back to her. Okay, come on. She doesn't move. I have to make this right. Okay, I admit it, I'm a fucking hardcore cunt. You should know by now that I don't have a filter. I say what I feel. I'm just telling you the honest truth here. This is the hardest thing for me to say. I'm sorry, okay? I know I was harsh, but I just wanted you to understand. I can't be with anybody on a full-time basis. I just can't. Einie gets her shit together. Martin's been taking care of me ever since our parents died. He's been working at Mirren Automotive during the week and Friday nights and weekends at Denoyer's Grill just to keep a roof over our heads and the bills paid. All while taking classes at Strickfield U. He's all I have. I just want the best for him. I know he's really into you. My brother's been with other girls, but he's never looked at them the way he looks at you, Bells. I'm begging you, please don't hurt him. I put a hand on Einie's shoulder. Martin and I will talk about things and go from there, but I make no promises. She nods. Okay. Now come on, let's go find those cheerleaders. We turn and head to the girls' locker room. As I suspected, they're not in the showers. I've been around them long enough to get their scents. When we go outside, I see their footprints in the snow. Until they stop dead. They flew away, Einie, I tell her. They turned into bats and flew off. I can't go after them since I can't change form. You're a vampire. You can't change form? Einie shrieks. If I can, I've never figured out how to do it. I'll have to leap in order to go after them. If you're coming, then you're going to have to hang on tight. I grab Einie and leap high into the night sky. I still have their scents in the air. I manage to go a full 3 miles before I have to land and take another leap. Glad Einie remembered to wear her jacket. The scent is getting stronger as I land near a forest. Then I look and see some cars. I recognize a few of them and know they belong to some of the jocks. Stupid boys. They probably met up with the cheerleaders thinking they're gonna get laid. Yeah, they'll fucking get laid all right. It's gonna get dangerous inside these woods, Einie, I whisper. You need to stick close to me. When I tell you, you run and hide. Got it, Bells, she whispers back. I take Einie's hand and lead her into the woods. The bitches aren't that far away now. Their scent is very strong. Thanks to my vampire vision, I can easily see in the dark as if it's still the light of day. We walk a little bit until we move behind a big redwood. There are 4 guys there with the cheerleaders. They're all around a campfire. It looks as if 2 of them are flat on their backs while the other 2 are in a trance. I know I could have saved them if I'd acted sooner, but I have feelings. I guess it's no wonder why other vampires I've taken down tell me that having feelings is my biggest weakness. Fuck them! I lean over to Einie and whisper in her ear. Stay here! I see her nod before I let go of her hand. I take off my shoes and hand them to her. Then I move and leap over to the other side of the fire. Everybody hears me land. When I reveal myself, everybody that can look does. The twin Mirren bees point right at me. You shouldn't have come here, Allie hisses. 6 of us to 1 of you, Alyssa notes. You really came out here alone? one of the other cheerleaders asks in surprise. I put my hand to my chin. 6 of you to 1 of me. I lower my hand and look at them. Yeah, you're right. Those are definitely bad odds. Yours. Then I vamp out, changing my face and readying my claws. Then the bitches scream? What the fuck? The bitches are actually scared of me? I guess so, because they all turn tail and run. The 2 guys that are still tranced just stand there. I check on the 2 guys that are down. Aini approaches me. I'm ready to tell her she should have stayed put, but I know she's concerned. Are they dead, Bells? I feel for pulses. No, thankfully. And then I finally understand. I know why those bitches are wearing the old bloodstone. Aini, what made you think they were vampires? I saw them smile and show fangs like yours, she tells me. Alyssa also showed me her claws, but they have to be vampires. They turned into bats, right? Yeah, they did, but they freaked out when they saw me, Aini. They can't possibly know that I'm a master vampire. You mentioned old bloodstone, Bells. Right. And here's what I determined. If they were true vampires, they could use old bloodstone to be able to walk in the daylight. However, they would have to keep their stones charged by drinking twice as much innocent blood. And by innocent, I mean virgin blood. I've been listening around school. I haven't heard a single story about any bodies being drained of blood, or of that many people even disappearing. So, we get to the other possibility. Those bitches are practicing witchcraft and are using the old bloodstone to turn themselves into vampires. Though they can walk by daylight, which means their transformations aren't complete. They have to charge their stones with soul energy in order to maintain their powers and continue their transformations. What they don't realize is, once their transformations are complete, they would need virgin blood to charge their stones to be able to walk around during the daylight. I think you and I both know that pure virgin blood is very hard to come by in this day and age. I point to the guys. You keep an eye on them. I'm going after those fucking bitches. They didn't turn into bats this time. I can easily find the 6 girls, thanks to both their scents and their footprints. Seriously, I've heard over the years that cheerleaders can be such fucking airheads, but this is too much. I easily find 2 of them together. They're both holding each other. Their faces are half vamped. Suddenly, they scream and try to come at me. Classic rookie mistake. I snatch the both of them up and toss them over my shoulders. They both hit the snowy ground and moan. I'm on both of them before they realize it. They scream as I reach my claws out for them and relieve them of their old bloodstone jewelry to make them human again. I hold one girl to me as I glam the other to get information. When I get what I want, I glam the other. Unlike normal vampires who can only glam as a means of hypnosis, I can both bend people to my will and actually look into their memories, whether they remember or not. I come to find that these bitches have indeed killed people by taking their souls to charge their old bloodstone jewelry. I could easily kill these 2, but I'm not a butcher. No, I have a much more suitable punishment for them. I peer so deeply into their psyches and corrupt them so that they ultimately end up going insane. I let the girls go and pursue the others. 2 more scream as they come out of their hiding places and attack me. I easily swat them away like flies. They truly have no idea of how fast a full vampire can move, even more so for a master. I'm on both of them before they can even get up. So tell me, was this thing with using old bloodstone to turn yourselves into vampires your idea? I ask, knowing full well that it's not. We just wanted to live forever, one of them says. We just wanted to be important, the other says. You don't know what it's like to be invisible to people. I'm not sure whether they can see me smile or not, but I find what they say funny. Actually, yes, I do know what it means to be invisible to people. The only difference between you two and me is I choose to be invisible. But you two, such stupid girls, you took lives for selfish reasons. Well, now, you'll have all the attention you two could ever want. I'll see to that personally. I take their old bloodstone and also make them insane. That just leaves the little twin Mirren bees. Like the others, they made the mistake of screaming before attacking me. These two are fully vamped out and want to give me a fight. Looks like these twin girls are the strongest out of what was their squad. They've probably siphoned more energy compared to the others. Well, they are Mirrens. All they care about is money and power, but being a Mirren means so very little to a Tabon. While Alyssa and Allie are close enough to being full vampires, they're finding out that there are bigger predators out there than them. They try to fight me with just basic street fighting. I'm a master of many different martial arts. To finish them off, I thrust my foot into one twin's gut so hard I can hear her spine crackle hard in many places. Then she falls onto her back. As for the other twin, I quickly bring my other foot up over my shoulder and connect with her neck. The slight crack tells me that I've damaged her spine also. She falls immediately. After relieving the twins of their stones, they become fully human once more. Only now, the two of them are paralyzed for life. I could drive them insane, but I feel like I've done enough. No, I won't let them die out here. I bring the cheerleaders back to the campfire where Aini is. I know she has a smartphone, so I tell her to call 911 and ask for some ambulances. I still feel soul energy inside these stones, so I recite the spell to release the energy and send it back to the rightful owners. The two guys that were flat on their backs begin to move again. I make sure they're okay before I glam them and make them forget all about me. You better get out of here, Bells, Aini tells me. I can see the flashers coming over there. I'll get this. I see where Aini's pointing. Good idea. You gonna be okay if I leave you here? Aini grabs my wrist one more time. Please don't leave Strickfield. Don't leave Martin. I'll be at the house when you get home, Aini. I promise. Also, I promised you that I'd talk to Martin. I'll be waiting for you. When Aini lets go, I leap into the air and am long gone before the police and ambulances get there. I have no doubt that Einstein will take care of everything. Well, I won't go into every detail about all the sappy shit. It's 2 weeks later and it's Friday at Strickfield High School. I look at my nails that Aini polished for me. God damn you, Aini. As you can tell, I did keep my word to Aini and remained at the house. Martin was already home when I got there. He looked tired from his classes. Still, he had enough energy to come and take me in his arms. As much as I wanted to tell Martin that we were done, and that I wanted to leave Strickfield, I realized I just couldn't do that to him. Not like that. Again, part of me wished that I'd lost my emotions when I became a master vampire. But I love and need to feel, which is something very few vamps can do. Martin and I made love for the first time that night. Normally, we just fuck. As for Aini, I think she pretty much knew that I was sticking around. The next morning, still 2 weeks ago, Martin had to go to work and then classes. He would be gone all day. It was just Aini and me, and we went to school. Wouldn't you know it, both of us were called into the principal's office. Turned out that the talk of the school was that the cheerleading squad was permanently gone. It was in the Strickfield newspaper that something had happened to them in the woods near the south end of the village limits. 4 of them were committed to a facility called Glenview, which was near North Ridgeway. As for the twins, they ended up in a special hospital over in Shore City where they would be cared for the rest of their lives. It didn't surprise me that their parents didn't want to care for them themselves. Fucking rich misers. Anyway, getting back to Principal Van Diest, he had both Aini and me in front of him. He pointed right at us. I don't know what happened with the cheerleaders, but I know I know that you two had something to do with it. I roll my eyes. Can you even prove any of this shit? If not, go fuck yourself and let us go back to class. Oh, you're going back to class all right. He stood up and put his palms on the desk. He had this weird smirk on his face. I want you two to go see Miss Temple in her office. Now. I believe you know the way, Aileen. You can take our new student to meet her. When Aileen got up, I was a bit reluctant. I wanted to see what else this shitheel had to say. When he told me to get going, I got up. Before we left, I made sure he saw me give him the finger and flick my tongue. Aini took us to the gym and to Miss Temple's office there. Turned out she taught a few of the gym classes, a few of the English classes, and was also the cheerleading coach. She looked really fucking happy to see us. There were 4 other girls there too. I won't go into details on them, but just seeing the 6 of us, we had the strangest mix there. Miss Temple couldn't wait to tell the 6 of us that we were all the new fucking cheerleader squad. Bullshit, I quickly told her and stepped back. You can fucking kiss my ass. Believe it or not, Miss Temple wasn't even upset with me. She just simply said, language. Then she explained that Principal Van Diest had personally handpicked the 6 of us to be the new cheerleaders of Strickfield High. I still told Miss Temple to go fuck herself. Then I about lost my fucking shit when I saw that Aini and the others gladly accepted their uniform and shoes. As much as I protested, Aini looked so happy to have been given such an opportunity. I would have also told Aini to go get fucked, but we've had time to bond over the last several days. So, not only am I possibly developing feelings for Martin, I've gotten used to having Aini around. I think I've said this before, but she fucking grows on you. As soon as we were back out in the hallway, I grabbed Aini's shoulders. I am so gonna fucking kill you. No, you won't, she said quickly. I'm your best friend. Again, always so fucking direct. Getting back to now, I'm wearing a fucking cheerleader uniform. It'll be another game night as a full-fledged cheerleader. Oh, and now I'm known as both the Bad Schoolgirl and the Bad Cheerleader. Aini told me she had a reason for the 2 of us joining the squad, and it wasn't for us to show off our tits and asses in front of the crowds at the basketball games. Aini explained that a lot of shit goes on here in Strickfield. She promised me there would be more than enough work to keep me here for a very long time. In other words, we'd be keeping our eyes and ears open for shit to investigate. Over time, I would learn other interesting things about the other 4 cheerleaders. So, I sigh to myself and realize I've gotten too close to the Donnerleys and the great food at Denoyer's Grill. Looks like I'm stuck in this fucking village indefinitely. Seriously, why couldn't I have lost my feelings when Thornton Gillian's blood mixed with mine over 100 years ago?
Caroline Quinn, Vampire Hunter, by Mike Eshkui. Halloween always brings out the weird ones. Can you remember a time when it didn't bring out the weird ones? I can't. Now, toss in all sorts of things people consider fantastic and impossible only 50 years ago, and now it's only weirder. It's also a lot more dangerous. See, 50 years ago, something happened and no one can explain it. People just were born different. Different how? Well, suddenly people could fly. People could turn invisible, and sometimes those special people had bad days, and people ended up dead. Now, toss in the fact that some things we considered myth and legend were also real. Real-life monsters, vampires, werewolves, shapeshifters, and stuff that would make Stephen King say, "What in the actual fuck?" It's a real shit show, but it's home, and frankly, it's a living. I deal with problems that the usual police or even gifted individuals can't. My name is Caroline Quinn, and I'm something a little different than what you might expect. I'm not a super, and I'm not a cop, but something in between those things. I don't report to anyone per se, but I do draw a paycheck. I'm what's known as a troubleshooter. I am contracted by the government to deal with, quote, issues that require discretion and, most importantly, plausible deniability. See, it's okay to have your local neighborhood asshole in a cape deal with some lunatic who can level a building with a punch, but sometimes you deal with something different. Again, you know how I mentioned that whole creatures of myth and legend? Well, those same things cause trouble, and your average person isn't equipped to deal with the truly paranormal. People can accept superpowers, but you start bringing in the undead and all that shit, well, let's say they don't deal with it well at all. Suddenly, what goes bump in the night is real and makes Freddy Krueger look tame in comparison. Governments try very hard to suppress a lot of the truly scary shit, but sometimes it gets out. Thanks to Instagram, I'm sure we needed to see one of America's top superheroes get torn apart by vampires or a group of teenagers get pulled under the water by an ancient shark god near New Zealand. You might ask, why try to hide it? We have literal superheroes. Well, something happened and those things are becoming more frequent, almost like a natural response to the rise of the gifted. It's almost like undeath finds a way. I'm sure there is a philosophical or religious explanation or maybe even scientific reason behind it, but if there is, I don't know it, and I don't care to know it. I get paid to deal with it. How do I deal with it? I'm tough, supernaturally tough. Even by the standards set by the gifted community, I'm an anomaly. There aren't many like me, and that is probably a good thing. I've heard more than a few whispered conversations worrying about what she and her kind represent. In short, they think I'm a threat. I'm also something that seems to be somewhere between them and the gifted. They believe, however, better to have that threat under control and on your side. A fucking cocktail of supernatural and superpowered. Did I mention I get some perks from this gig? I get 2 weeks of paid vacation a year, which can be revoked at any time, should the situation dictate. Isn't that just swell? I got to go to Disney World once, till some undead goon tried to kill some kid in a Mickey Mouse costume. I got a free pair of mouse ears for my trouble. So where does that bring us now? A few days ago, I got a tip that led to a small town in rural upstate New York. Your quiet little sleepy town that has a Denny's, a big box retailer, and people get excited when Starbucks comes to town. The information was compiled by a computer forensic person I knew in the FBI who had an eye for this sort of thing. Her name was Rianne, and she was also my ex-girlfriend. Aren't workplace romances complicated? Still, she and I were good till we weren't. The information dealt with a very strange set of deaths that had occurred over the last few months in the local old age communities. A lot of dead old-timers and not passing away from natural causes either. Normally, this would have just slid under the radar and been filed away under so sad, too bad. But I guess some intern did some blood workup and it got sent to the wrong lab, and that got Rianne's attention. Certainly makes my job easier than having to rely on AI and search algorithms. I still don't trust computers and probably never will. I had to be dragged out of using a flip phone in the last 10 years. I stopped for breakfast before driving into Hope Springs. I traveled in a little camper van, and while it wasn't the most glamorous, it wasn't a half-bad place to sleep and even had a mini refrigerator and solar panels. It wasn't Howard Johnson, but it was home for most of the year. Sitting down and eating an overpriced plate of bacon and eggs, I started to look over the files. Rianne always did me a solid and compiled it into easy-to-understand pieces, and compartmentalization was her specialty. For about 4 months, 20 or so unusual deaths were recorded in the city's coroner's report, and all of them had an unusual marker in the blood work. One of the recently deceased had a busybody of a son who demanded to know what happened to dear old dad and demanded a full autopsy, and evidently had the pull to make it happen despite a coroner who could not have cared less. The son probably wanted some kind of an insurance payout or something equally as heartless. Isn't family great? Sipping at my disgusting black liquid allegedly called coffee, something stood out to me. That unusual marker in the blood work was some kind of thing I'd seen before. Without getting all technical and probably losing your interest, it was a foreign element, and it didn't belong in the body of an 89-year-old man. It was gifted blood and contained trace elements of what has been widely identified as vampiric blood. I stopped eating and kept reading the files over and over again. Over the course of 4 months and 20 bodies, this particular blood pattern occurred over 10 times. Someone or something was preying on the elderly and was using them to feed, but not turning them into more of them. Normally, a vampire would create a little army, and we'd have a small problem on our hands. Some of the more unique gifted heroes like Photonic or Ultraviolet would be asked to help. However, recently, after almost dying themselves, they were reluctant or flat out refused to assist. Usually superior firepower with silver and UV grenades would do the job, but you could always count on one of the slippery undead fucks getting away like some kind of Houdini and Dracula combined. This one was greedy and didn't want to share eating with the old folks. This one also was different and maybe was working with a gifted person to incapacitate the geezers or something else entirely. Maybe they were like me and had a mix of both worlds in their blood. Either scenario means I wouldn't be out of here by Monday, and with Halloween happening in a day, it meant a lot of potential collateral damage with civilians nearby. Great. Now I have to hunt down a potentially superpowered vampire or a regular vampire with a super sidekick. You know, working at Applebee's certainly sounds a lot less dangerous right now. I'd at least make tips and not have to worry about half my guts decorating the walls or having my soul sucked out. Remember, 2 weeks paid vacation plus 401k plus blah blah protect your country and save humanity blah blah. Right. I can practically recite the recruiting speech. Just have to hold up my end of the bargain and make sure supervillains or Satan doesn't destroy the planet first. Fuck. They could have called people like Megaton or Phase, but no. My name comes up first in the Rolodex. Do people still use those? Rolodexes? I finish my breakfast and leave a few bucks on the table. I throw a wry look at my waitress as if saying, I'm sorry I'm gonna fuck up your town in a few days, but hey, have $10. I exit the diner and start heading back to my camper van. It's cold in late October and my leather jacket isn't quite as warm as I would like. It's at least pretty out here in that quaint kind of way. Hope Spring is about another 20 miles away, and I have nothing but my thoughts and a playlist of Megadeth and other 80s hair metal. What can I say? It sets the mood for killing vampires and probably looking sexy while doing it. I won't look sexy while doing it because no one is ever going to know I did it, and if it ends up on Reddit with my face, then I'll have a lot of explaining to do, and probably no 401k to look forward to. Maybe I'll write a book after I retire. I could do a podcast. Any asshole with a microphone has one of those these days anyway, right? Hit the road and it's a long 20 miles with only trees, farmhouses, and the occasional cow or horse outside grazing. There is boring and then there is boring. It's an easy drive though, and besides picking up a cherry Slurpee on the way, it's uneventful too. Entering the city limits and I immediately feel like I've entered a Charlie Brown Halloween special. This place has gone absolutely all out on the season. There are pumpkins and scarecrows and all sorts of window displays. I'm pretty sure I saw a life-size Pennywise the Clown welcoming me into the jewel of upstate New York. Well, I'm sure this is tax dollars well spent. Rianne had arranged a visit for me to examine the latest victim before they were sent off to the funeral home. Oh joy, cadaver fresh, just like Mom used to make. You know what I like about dead people? They're easy to get along with. They're quiet, and they always listen. Wait, no, I take that back. Most of the dead people I deal with are supernaturally strong, fast, and probably have lived a few centuries and have razor-sharp fangs and claws. I did, however, kill one Scottish vampire with an accent so thick I couldn't stop laughing when he threatened me. It was like killing a blood-sucking version of Shrek. Wasn't so bad once I unloaded one of the vampire-killing shotguns into him. Still, you haven't lived until you've fought Vampire Shrek. I still giggle about that one even though he dislocated my shoulder. That's the one thing I didn't expect. I thought I was invincible, or at least damned close to it. For some strange reason, things like them can hurt me. Anything unnatural, not human. I've been put in the hospital a few times and even had a few close calls I don't like to remember. It's likely the only thing that puts me in the ground. I'd still not want to take one of the phase's energy discharges to the face just to be sure. I'm too damn pretty to die like that. Driving around town, and it's like I was in a weird cross between Halloween Town and the wet dream of a Spirit Halloween executive. I eventually found the coroner's office tucked away near a cute little Dutch bakery and a Mennonite furniture store. Pulled up the van to the building's parking lot and grabbed my gear bag and my federal ID and my shoulder holster for my sidearm. I had the absolute worst hair day when they took that photo, too. They didn't seem too thrilled when I wanted to give finger guns either. No one has a sense of humor these days. Anyway, I made my way up to the door and hit the buzzer. A couple of minutes passed before a bored-looking black gentleman approached the glass door. I'm assuming this was the coroner for Hope Springs, Percy Downer. He kinda looked like the guy from the John Wick movies and had this quiet confidence about him, but he didn't look too happy to see me when he saw the ID badge on my breast pocket. "Mr. Downer," I smiled and said through the glass door. "Yes, and you are?" He didn't return my warmth. It was gonna be one of those days, wasn't it? "Special Agent Carolyn Quinn, Federal Bureau of Investigation. My field office should have called ahead." They better have called ahead, or this was going to be a fun time fast-talking Mr. Personality over here. They did. Seems like a bit unusual to send an FBI agent out here to examine what is clearly a heart attack. I smiled back at him and even tried to straighten out my breasts and try my womanly wiles on him. Please work. I just want to examine the body, confirm my suspicions, and actively begin my investigation and get back on the road. Well, I just go where Washington tells me to go. I don't imagine it'll be anything too involved. I mean, if you wanted to take off and grab lunch, I don't think I'll be longer than an hour. He frowned when I said take off for lunch. This was the kind of guy who liked his workspace and didn't appreciate outsiders interfering in his little corner. "Look, Agent Quinn, there isn't anything to see here. Mr. Carey's son has already had me do the initial autopsy, and I found nothing out of the ordinary." I'm starting to lose my patience and any potential head start. I'm relatively sure that the bloodsucker doesn't know I'm in town yet. I'm also not wearing a giant neon sign that says Vampire Killer either, so I probably have the element of surprise so far. "Mr. Downer, if you want me to call the field office and make this a whole thing, I can do that, but I'd really rather not. So why don't we just let each other get out of each other's way and let me do my job? Let me make it interesting to you. Why don't you go out to lunch on Uncle Sam's tab and invoice the field office on my authorization? Just don't break the bank, okay?" His demeanor changed when I said, "Charge it to the government." I probably won't get into too much trouble. I mean, how much could the guy realistically eat and drink? "Why don't you take your lab intern with you? I think her name is Michelle, right? Go out, have a great lunch and a few drinks, and I'll call you when it's time to come back and lock up." "Fine. I'll get Ms. Crawford and we'll be down at Hitch Steakhouse. You have my number?" I nodded. I think he could tell I just wanted to get this over with as quickly as I could. He opened the door and led me to the mortuary and his lockers all sealed up tight. Downer gestured toward a series of slabs near the middle row and said, "I'd find my guest in locker 3. I noticed there was a lot of blood on the examination tables, and some looked fairly fresh. The Bureau thanks you for your assistance and cooperation in this matter. Agent Quinn, please do not disturb the lower row. Those ladies came in this morning and I haven't had a chance to properly do anything with them. They didn't come in a very pleasant or complete manner. Gross. I waited a few minutes while Downer and his assistant left the morgue and I was alone with my new friends. All right, let's get to work and see what we got here. I slide open the drawer where my first guest of honor is supposed to be. According to what Rianne sent me, this was Phil Carey, age 89. His naked body was stark white as most corpses are, and it would have been nothing out of the ordinary except if you knew what to look for. A lot of newer vampires took blood from unusual places, and this one was no different. There was a small set of puncture wounds behind his right knee. It was pretty easy to miss due to the scar tissue back there, suggesting he'd probably had knee surgery or some kind of an injury when he was younger. I kept looking over the body with my examination gloves and gently turning over the old man, well, as gently as I could. Old guy wasn't exactly heavy, but for some reason, I was having a hard time moving him. The body seemed not as stiff as I was expecting either. Almost like rigor mortis hadn't totally set in. What in the fuck? I turned away for a second to grab my phone and maybe call Rianne and see what else was pulled up in that lab report that I missed. This guy shouldn't be this, fresh. This is so weird. No sooner did I think that than something absolutely unearthly split the room with a ear-shattering howl. The sound vibrated off of every surface and seemed to rattle my eardrums in my head, and I couldn't get my bearings for a second as it was like someone set off a flashbang right next to my face. The body of Phil Carey sat straight up on the slab and looked right at me. I froze for a second. I'd never seen a new vampire animate before. The old man looked confused as the scream emitted from his cracked, cold lips. He looked wildly around the room and locked onto me in terror, panic, and something else I can't describe. Did he want help? "What did you do to me?" the man screamed. I reached into my jacket and tried unlatching my sidearm, a specialty 9mm pistol with silver bullets. Okay, it's game time. The old man looked down at the Y incision in his chest, and he started screaming again, and this time there was pain, rage, and sadness. As he cried out, I held my ground. His body started to change and morph into his new unlife. Soon Mr. Carey would have enhanced strength, armor like skin, and even wings if he wanted. His fingernails grew into nasty-looking claws, and he started cutting into his own chest and started pulling out his own guts through the fresh incision on his chest. "What the fuck are you doing?" I blurted out as I leveled my weapon at his head. He kept screaming and started pulling his chest open, and eventually his entrails were everywhere, but he still was alive, I guess. Blood and viscera and everything that was inside was now on the outside. I steeled myself and pulled the trigger. 1, 2, 3. I put 3 rounds into his head and he stopped screaming after his head exploded like a watermelon filled with firecrackers. The body fell off the examination table and into a pile of blood, gore, and what was left of his head. I put another 2 rounds into his heart, just to be sure. Always double tap the heart or completely incinerate the torso. Usually you take out the head and the heart and it'll stop him. Usually. Okay, never seen that before. That was new and fucking terrifying. I stop for a second and look around the carnage, and it's one of the worst places I've ever been to. I was at the Vampire Nest in 2018 in Boston, and that was messed up and even the supers won't talk about it. Blood, gore, and missing limbs, dead agents. That was the day that Nightshade lost her eyes when the vampire lord stuck his claws into her face. That's a sound you never forget. One of the worst days we ever suffered as a task force. But we won. I guess. 30 of us, including a few supers, went in. Only 7 of us came back out alive, or close enough to not be considered a casualty. I start to catch my breath and I can hear banging and muffled screams coming from inside the freezers. You've got to be fucking shitting me. There's more of these things? I'm in a goddamn nest with no backup and not nearly enough ammo on me to do the job. All my specialty stuff is in the van and locked up. I'm tough, but I'm not invincible, and I'm certainly not equipped to deal with this by myself. Time to go. Downer had said the new bodies didn't come in intact. I can use that to my advantage. If they reanimate without all their limbs, then maybe I wouldn't be dealing with the golden ghouls at full power. Okay, grannies, I have an idea. Hold that thought. I'll be right back. I ran into the morgue and then right outside into the now pouring rain and straight into my van, tossing open the doors and into the secured compartment by my tiny fridge. They say that happiness is a warm gun, and in this particular instance, happiness and security was delivered by a top-of-the-line paranormal defense contractor and an alleged coven of witches from Salem. All right, motherfuckers. I grabbed Sweet Baby Jane, my custom automatic 12-gauge shotgun with a carbon fiber finish with pink highlights and a laser sight. Buckshot with silver and some other stuff that I don't totally understand, but all I know, it turns the undead into Swiss cheese. All I know right now is that Baby Jane is hungry. The big surprise, though, doesn't so much go boom as it goes pop. The real piece of hardware I came for. Ultraviolet grenades. Those same DoD eggheads developed a way to deliver a concentrated blast of ultraviolet energy in a small package no bigger than a pack of smokes. These things could really fuck up a bloodsucker's day if you could get them in an enclosed area and you didn't mind risking the chance of going blind and maybe contracting cancer. Walk back inside the mortuary and I can hear the banging of the undead against the steel coolers and the occasional confused yelp. I slide around into the shotgun's chamber and make my way back into the examination room. Move forward slowly, cautiously, and be ready to unload hell into whatever face decides to come up and say hello. Good news is that they don't know how to break the seal on the lockers, and for now, I have the element of surprise. Creeping up the first locker, I can hear whatever is inside just absolutely freaking out. As much as a part of me is afraid on some level for getting my throat ripped out by B. Arthur here, there is a bit of a sadistic joy crawling through my body. I sling the shotgun at my side and grip one of the small black UV grenades and inch my way towards the cooler. Trick or treat, I say as I open the door and quickly pull the pin and throw the small device inside and seal the door once again. An audible voice exclaims, "What?" A second later, a brilliant flash and the satisfying thump of a contained detonation within a confined space are music to my ears. That's 2 dead vampires, and it's not even lunchtime yet. You could call this a kill streak, couldn't you? Not bad, but no time to get sloppy. The screeching sound of steel being torn from its moorings fills the room as the second undead grandma makes her way out of her makeshift tomb. The steel door flies off across the room and embeds itself in the wall by the entrance. Downer isn't going to be happy with what I did to his workspace. In my defense, they started it. The blood at least adds some color, so there's that. The creature started clawing its way out of the locker, and its twisted, aged face emerged with a furious rage, and it locked eyes with me. Normally, this would be absolutely terrifying to come face to face with an undead vampiric horror. But when it's an undead vampiric horror of a bingo lady in her late 70s, it loses a little bit of the fear factor. She was still a threat to me due to her newly unleashed strength and speed and toughness, but if I'm lucky, she'd be like a baby elephant learning how to walk for the first time and be clumsy. Fortunately, she hadn't been undressed yet, so I didn't have to witness something that could have seared my eyes out. The creature fell out of the locker and onto the cold floor and started to transform into her new unlife before my very eyes. Bones snapped into new places. A pair of thin, bony wings started to form and unfurl from her back and tear from her little blue nightgown, and finally, her skin started to take on an ashen gray shade as it solidified into an armor-like hide. I've never seen a new vampire gain so many of its new abilities so quickly after reanimating. This was something new, and this was definitely something I wasn't quite expecting so early on a Friday morning. The grenades wouldn't do a lot since the space was too open unless I landed it right on her shoulder, so that was out for the time being. Immediately, without really thinking about it, I had baby Jane back in my arms and ready to unleash hell upon this fiend. The old lady unfurled her new wings and stretched them out and knocked over several tables of supplies. She looked amazed at her new body and didn't seem too fazed that she was now among the planet's paranormal population. I aimed the shotgun at her and immediately its green laser engaged and painted a picture on the center of her mass. She didn't seem to take notice of the 6-foot blonde federal agent aiming a fully automatic shotgun at her. She extended her arms forward and started looking at her new hands, which had now formed into wicked long sickle-like claws. I racked the slide and made sure that it was ready to sing that 12-gauge buckshot show tune. As soon as the slide clicked, the creature's eyes immediately narrowed and focused on me. We both held tense at the standoff here in the Hope Springs morgue, and not one made a move or sound. The only sound we could both hear was an ancient wall clock that was suspended above the lockers, and it was clicking up towards noon. 11:59. The second hand was swinging around towards the bottom, and the last 30 seconds of the morning was counting down. The old lady opened her mouth with her new fangs and drooled as she smiled at me. I smiled back at her, part of it to relieve the tension I was feeling in my own body, and part of it was hoping it would unnerve her a touch as to why I was being so confident. She didn't seem fazed by my bravado or the shotgun. 20 seconds left. She took a step towards me and tore off what remained of her blue nightgown and growled at me. I stood my ground. "Are you prepared to die, young lady?" I grinned and tightened my grip and slowly prepared to squeeze the trigger on my weapon. "Not today." 15 seconds. She took another step towards me, and now less than 10 feet separated us, and I swear she grew another 2 feet in height as she took that single stride. 10 seconds. Wait for it, I thought. She leapt at me with a supernatural speed and swiftness and threw her entire body forward and her claws reaching for me. Showtime as the clock struck noon. Part of my abilities besides being tough is that I'm also as quick as most of the night creatures themselves, if I can judge things right. This time my luck paid off, as I suspected it would. I twisted my body at the last second and let her fly right past me and crash into the workstation behind. As the old woman flew past and crashed into the equipment as well, I fired off a few rounds from the shotgun. 2 quick succession blasts erupted from the weapon and shredded her new wings into confetti. These particular shotgun rounds were particularly nasty too, as those said defense contractors decided to pack something a little extra besides the magic-adjacent mojo into them. Magnesium pellets and silver and enchanted pellet shards. Dragon's breath shotgun shells with a little bit extra. The rounds lit her up and she was doused in flames as well. The monster yelped in pain and surprise as her armored hide didn't have an answer to that little one. It didn't seem to slow her down much as she quickly got to her feet for yet another attack. This time I wasn't so quick, and I got the full force of this creature barreling into me with tremendous and unexpected force. The blow knocked the wind out of me and sent my weapon from my hands across the room and under an examination table. I was knocked against a steel table and left gasping for air. The old woman delivered another sucker punch into my gut, and I doubled over in pain and was left gasping for air. I'm in trouble here, guys. The monster grabbed a hold of my head and started raising it up to her face directly. Her grip was powerful and would not be easily broken. I said, "Are you prepared to die?" She hissed at me through her fangs. She started squeezing my head and I could feel things start to go black and my consciousness start to fade. She was gonna knock me out before she likely tore me apart, limb from limb. This old bitch isn't exactly playing fair. Well, I don't have to play fair either. I thrust my arms up between hers and tried to force them apart from squeezing me further. I just got enough force together to loosen her grip and knock her hands free from my head. I started raining blows upon her face and just let fly every bit of anger, rage, and even a bit of fear that I'd built up over the course of our confrontation. My fist kept connecting against her skull, and blood kept flying out, and while she kept trying to dodge and hold back my assault, she didn't stand a chance. I felt my fists crush the bones in her face as her skull began to disintegrate under me. I had her pinned against a table, and she had nowhere to run and couldn't fly. This thing was at my mercy, and today was not a day to expect mercy from someone you just tried to murder. I hit her until there was nothing left of her head and left the body to hit the floor in a bloody pile after what seemed like forever. I left the body in a disgusting heap of meat in a corner and retrieved my weapons. Wait, gotta make sure, and it's probably overkill. I grabbed one of the UV grenades I had left and put it inside what remained of her torso and pulled the pin and quickly left the room. Boom! Cool kids don't look back at explosions. Now I can add that to my list of cool action movie things I've done and I will never tell anyone about because they'll never believe me. Nope. Keep walking. Emerging outside in the cold October rain was refreshing as it not only washed off the blood and gore of the last encounter, but was oddly refreshing too. I stood outside in the rain and just let the adrenaline of the melee wash over me. I needed to relax, but too bad, I don't smoke anymore. Finally, the combat rush was over and my breathing returned to normal. This was going to be a problem and probably one that a single troubleshooter won't be able to handle on her own. I'm going to need help and there's probably no way around this. You call for help in a situation like this and it's going one of two ways. You're either overreacting and it's fine or end up with a situation like Boston. And it's one step away from calling in the proverbial airstrike and a room of old white dudes looking for a reason to enact the Cradle of Liberty protocol. Cradle of Liberty was basically the nuclear option for all threats, super and paranormal, and had only ever been deployed once since the 70s. You used it when you had absolutely zero choice and collateral damage wasn't a primary concern. Survival was, and the cost would be paid and it didn't matter how it was accomplished. No one alive today would talk about what it would entail, but we all knew that it was the last possible option and no one wanted to be the one to sanction its use. I thought I had it figured out and this was not a vampire nest, but instead some new undead douche. Being greedy, it seems that I may be wrong if the last encounter was any indication of what's going on. Super vampires are on the loose and this town is ground zero or something much, much worse is on the horizon. I don't like what I'm seeing here and something is definitely not adding up like it should. I'm pretty fucking terrible at math, but I sure as shit know that 2 + 2 ain't 10. I don't like this. Remember why you're doing this, Quinn. 2 weeks paid vacation. Oh yeah, and saving the world or some shit. I made a call, first to Rianne, and let her know that I was probably in over my pretty little head. I wasn't too thrilled to call the feds, but they'd have a solution, and at least Rianne was a calming influence. She always knew what to say to talk me down off the ledge, and it didn't hurt that she sounded cute when she was concerned about me. I miss her. The second call was a little harder to make. I called the department, which is code for the Department of Paranormal Resources, a subset of the Department of Defense and Homeland Security. Layers upon layers upon layers of bureaucracy, but also they had resources and people that your average gifted or troubleshooter didn't have access to. I was told to sit tight and hold my position while they assessed the situation and confer with partners within paranormal research and defense. Great. I get to cool my jets in the middle of Vampire City. I got lucky and a cleanup crew was at the Hope Springs coroner office within an hour, and Percy Downer was offered a generous payout for his silence and a 2-week vacation. Must be nice. Though odds are he'll be sent to Langley for an extensive debrief and probably psychic mind probe to see if he knows more than what he's letting on. Guy like that is probably next level boring. Then again, I didn't expect to fight a retirement home in a morgue, so who knows. Enjoy Virginia. I drove away from the coroner's office and pulled up in a nearby hotel and booked a room. It had only been a few hours since the confrontation and my mind wasn't ready to let go of what happened. The thing that bothered me the most is how quickly those things moved and how quickly they reanimated into their new unlife. The real question that bothered me is, why didn't this happen before with the other victims? Why was this happening now? There has to be a reason for it. Was there a new vampire lord attempting to make a nest in this town? How does the superpowered angle figure into it? Was someone, or worse, something, creating a vampire super hybrid? What in the hell was happening in Hope Springs, New York? I laid down in the hotel's uncomfortable bed and put my head down on the pillow and felt every bump and bruise from today's encounter. My wounds would heal by morning, but still, that old lady tossed me around pretty good, and if I hadn't gotten a lucky break, I'm sure she'd be picking me out of her fangs right now. I could have died today. I got lucky. Or I got sloppy. Drifting off to a strange and unusual sleep, I passed out and had nightmares all night. The following morning, I was awakened by my phone ringing off the hook and about 30 missed calls. I tried to get my eyes to focus on the tiny screen and see who had called. It was Rianne. I called her back and immediately I knew something was wrong from the second she answered the other line. "Where the hell have you been? I've been trying to call you all night. Are you okay? Are you all right? What the hell happened to you?" I tried to sound cool and brave, but I get the feeling she wasn't in the mood for my particular brand of humor. Well, I went to the morgue to see a corpse and got jumped by 3 of them instead. She exhaled loudly. I could tell it was a mix between frustration and relief. "Are you okay, Quinn? Talk to me." Rianne's voice had this thing in it that made you want to confess what you were really feeling, especially when you didn't want to. Honestly, no, I'm not. Something is pretty fucked up here in upstate New York. One of those things almost got the best of me. I've never fought anything like them before. Something is very, very wrong here. Caroline, if I'd known, I would have never sent you there in the first place. She was sorry beyond words, and part of me could hear that she was on the verge of crying, almost like I could feel her lip tremble on the phone. I know you had no clue. I'm waiting on the call from the department on what we're going to do next. I don't have a good feeling about this. I'm legitimately worried what this could all mean. On one hand, I had always quietly suspected that the paranormal war was escalating on some level. I was living proof that hybrids of some type were possible, even if we don't know exactly what I was. There were other troubleshooters who were a mix of paranormal and superpowered, but were remarkably few in numbers, like less than 50 identified across the entirety of North America. I should let you rest, but Caroline, you be careful out there. I know you think you're invincible and like nothing can hurt you, but you're human like the rest of us. Know when to run, okay? She said I was human. There are days I wish I was. I'm not human. I don't know what I am, honestly. I will. Look, when I get back to the city, why don't we get together and maybe get dinner and a movie like old times? I'd like that. I'll talk to you soon, Quinn. She paused for a second, and I could tell she stopped herself from saying something more before she hung up the phone. I love you too. I sat in the hotel room and stared at the peeling wallpaper and was just alone with my thoughts. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? I finally asked myself the hard question of the day. How many people are going to die? The phone rang again. I wanted it to be Rianne and for her to talk me out of this assignment and to come back to New York and for her to convince me to leave this world behind and run. It wasn't Rianne. It was the department, and it was the secured line that you never wanted to call you directly. Director James Carlson, Department of Paranormal Resources, the guy whose desk issues the orders, and the guy who could sign your death warrant, should the need arise. This was about to turn my Halloween into a fucking horror show. Agent Quinn, the situation has changed. We're preparing to activate the Cradle of Liberty protocol in the city of Hope Springs. Assets will be on the scene within the next hour. My orders, sir? Megaton and FaZe will be on scene, and the Hammer and Carpenter teams will support them. You coordinate with the other gifted on scene. I want that nest burned to the ground. Burn the city to the ground if you have to. Sir, what about the civilians? Like I said, the situation has changed. Consider all civilians as hostile. What in the fuck did he just say? Were they really going to activate the Cradle of Liberty protocol? What the hell did they even mean? The line went dead and a text message appeared with a set of coordinates and a timestamp of 1 hour. Oh fuck, this was it, wasn't it? The paranormal war just escalated. An hour later, I was at the arranged meeting place and the air was grim. It was a small farmhouse that had been requisitioned for use as a staging area. Soldiers, heavy equipment, and helicopters, and the supers showed up. Before the world changed 50 years ago, superheroes wore colorful costumes and capes and were larger than life and existed purely as fiction. Now, in the time of Kevlar, synthetic fabrics and utility ruled the day, and it was less tights and spandex and more tactical gear with a few colorful adornments. A few of the more outlandish supers wore stuff that people only wore at Halloween, but most were modest about their abilities. It should be noted that very few people can successfully pull off wearing a cape and actually have it look cool. A group of about 12 of us stood by the barn and watched as a man descended from the sky with a purple cape billowing behind him very dramatically. Megaton always knew he had to make an entrance and always made sure that you knew he was on the scene and that he was the best and brightest of all the gifted world. I didn't care for him, but I couldn't deny how powerful he was. Strong, tougher than me, and a unique ability to repel the force used against him. Oh, and he could also fly. A shimmering red light beside him as Megaton landed, and from a glowing red portal stepped FaZe, the woman known as FaZe, whose gifts allowed her limited teleportation and energy manipulation. She was a real showstopper, but young and often reckless when she was in combat against paranormal threats. The supers were fine fighting against other gifted and villains like Hurricane and Dread, but paranormal entities were a different breed. The last super to arrive pulled up on a tricked-out motorcycle. He was a combat expert known as mnemonic. His ability was to learn in a new, instantaneous manner, and he used his abilities to learn all sorts of martial arts and weaponry. He was a show-off, but let me tell you, he was the best shot, likely, on the entire planet Earth. Well, all of us were here now, and it was time to get to work. The team leader for Hammer and Carpenter squads stepped forward. Typical military bravado and swagger that depended on superior firepower and overwhelming numbers. Trust me, I've seen this movie before and it never ends well for the guys with the guns. But this is the hand we've been dealt. Captain Tony King and Lieutenant Tanya Dante. They nicknamed these two TNT, and for good reason. A lot of shit tended to blow up in their presence. Okay, we have a good actionable intelligence, and we're going to act on it immediately. Hope Springs Retirement Community is a vampire nest and is about to be as infested as a place can get. Think of a goddamn cockroach infestation, and you've got a pretty good idea of what we're up against. We do have an advantage. The vamps are new, inexperienced, and still not used to their powers. This means the new staff from the Pentagon should make short work of them. Our significant threat has been identified as a new hybrid-type vampire lord. We believe it to be an individual named Terry Fisher. We know how strong they can be, but this new lord seems to only be recruiting from the weak and feeble, so not exactly fighting the Russians or the North Koreans here. Dante said matter-of-factly as she laid out the information for all of us. Captain King stepped forward and pointed to the group of about 12 soldiers behind him and gestured toward their weapons. "We have state-of-the-art firepower and enough ammunition to shoot at anything that moves. We have enhanced fire support in terms of a troubleshooter and their superpowered allies. There is no reason we can't wrap this up by morning and be home for breakfast. I'd like to go get a grand slam at Denny's afterwards, so who's with me?" I sighed. I was surrounded by overconfidence and itchy trigger fingers and show-offs with superpowers. Is it too late to go work at Applebee's? I looked at the assembled superpowered individuals and approached them and tried to be as friendly as I could. I worked with Megaton and Phase before in Boston, but I'd never worked with Mnemonic. I don't like going into a combat situation with people I don't trust, and especially people who had declined to help when their country needed them. I told them what happened this morning at the morgue, and they laughed at me. They wanted to know how the great Agent Caroline Quinn could get her ass kicked by an old man and a few ladies from bingo. I told them to take this seriously. This wasn't your usual bloodsucker. They didn't want to hear it. They laughed it off and said it would be easy. I remember how Boston happened, and Megaton and Phase should have too. King and Dante barked orders across the staging area for everyone to get ready as we were wheels up in 5 minutes and got on board of the choppers. I went and got my gear loaded up, an enhanced protective vest, my trusty Baby Jane, and a few of the UV grenades. I guess we were as ready as we were gonna be. This was gonna be bad, wasn't it? As the helicopters flew over Hope Springs, it was kind of pretty, in a sense. It was Halloween night and trick-or-treaters could be seen walking down the streets with their parents or friends. This town had no idea what was happening in it. You could almost feel the sense of fun and joy that people were having. I wish I didn't have to bring hell to this little place, but it can't be helped. The 2 aircraft cut through the night sky and headed towards the retirement home, and presumably where this was going to end. I glanced out the side door and saw Megaton keeping pace with us. Megaton still had that stupid, overconfident smile on his face. One of the things I learned very early on in my career was never underestimate your enemy, no matter how weak they appear. An enemy is most dangerous when they are cornered, and especially when they're on their own turf. We started to begin our descent onto the lawn of the retirement home, which was a 2-story structure that looked like it was built fairly recently. It looked super modern and almost out of place for a town that looks like it was taken out of a postcard advertising for rural charm. Captain King slid the side door open of the helicopter and looked back at all of us in his command and patted his weapon. "Okay, kids, it's time to visit Grandpa." He cheered as he pulled down his night vision goggles above his eyes. No sooner did the words leave his mouth. Things began to go immediately wrong. King was yanked out of the door and thrown screaming towards the ground by an unseen assailant. Everyone couldn't comprehend what just happened to the Hammer Squad commander, and everyone's jaw was just hanging open. Panic was not unlike fire. When panic spreads uncontrolled, it spreads fast, just like a forest blaze. Suddenly, without warning, the helicopter lurched forward and pitched itself towards the ground in an out-of-control spiral. Soldiers fell out of the open hatch door and tumbled to their deaths. You are not surviving that kind of a fall with that kind of force. I held on to my seat as best I could and tried to unlatch my safety harness. I needed out, fast. We smashed into the ground hard, and glass and metal flew everywhere as the helicopter split apart from the impact. Fire and small explosions happened all around us as we skidded across the lawn and finally came to a stop when we hit the entranceway of the structure. My safety harness and enhanced durability probably kept me alive. Probably. Everyone else was not so lucky. The other soldiers who were still in their seats did not survive the crash. One of them seemed to have caught shrapnel to the face and neck. The other had her neck snapped by the force of the crash, and another soldier whose face I couldn't see had been messily disemboweled by a piece of debris. I could hear the other craft land safely, and then I heard the sounds of gunfire outside, and people screaming. Time to go! I escaped my harness and the wreckage of the crash and pushed my way out of the shattered helicopter. The others had landed safely, but it didn't matter as they were completely surrounded by flying creatures and they weren't shooting with any precision. They were shooting wildly and without thinking except to empty their magazines at anything that moved. If you can believe it, this is where things went from bad to worse. Tanya Dante stood back to back with Mnemonic in an attempt to keep some sense of combat awareness. The pair at least were shooting with purpose and even hitting a few of the creatures in the air and potentially even killing a few, but I couldn't be sure from all the muzzle flashes. Fall back, goddammit! Dante yelled at anyone who would listen. No sooner did she yell that something swooped out of the sky and picked her up by her shoulders and carried her into the air. The lieutenant wasn't going down without a fight, though, as she kept firing her weapon as she ascended into the sky with her captor. The monster used its tremendous strength to throw her against a second-story building wall with enough force to shatter concrete. Mnemonic looked at me in utter terror and started to run away from the fight. He didn't make it 50 feet before he was swarmed. The creatures tore the poor hero to pieces within seconds, and fountains of blood spewed from what remained of his body. "That's enough!" A powerful voice echoed across the battlefield, and for a second, everyone stopped fighting and shooting, and all eyes focused in that direction. A person in medical scrubs emerged from behind the crashed helicopter near the entrance and started walking towards the center of all of us. The shimmering light distortion appeared beside this new stranger, and FaZe stepped out and started to engage in hand-to-hand combat with his new enemy. She started kicking and punching, with her attacks enhanced with her bioelectric energy, and while spectacular looking, it didn't seem to hurt this person at all. They just kept walking towards the middle of the battleground. They kept walking towards me. "Stand still, fucker!" FaZe yelled as she kept up, but none of her attacks seemed to affect them. Finally, enough light was present that I could get a good look at this person in the scrubs. It was a man in his early 20s, or maybe mid-20s at most. He walked with a stride and purpose that someone who knows they're untouchable does. FaZe stood in front of him and cupped her hands together and thrust them forward and hurled a huge bolt of blue crackling lightning. The discharge filled the air with so much power that I could feel my hair pick up on a static charge. The man kept walking past FaZe and towards me. "I said stop!" FaZe teleported right in front of him and attempted to stand in his way. And just as she rematerialized, the man grabbed her by the throat. "No!" The man snapped her neck and tossed her lifeless body to the ground with a wet smack. Megaton chose his moment to dive-bomb the man from somewhere high above and create a huge impact crater. The two struggled and exchanged blows while entangled in each other's limbs. Okay, maybe this will make a difference. Maybe this is the edge we need. Megaton grabbed hold of the man and flew straight up into the sky out of sight, and for a moment, everyone stopped again, absolutely transfixed by what happened. Vampire and soldier alike just stood there and waited. You could hear a thunderous clash of blows above us, high in the clouds, and it echoed so loudly that the remaining glass near us vibrated and threatened to shatter. Megaton had this guy on the ropes. America, fuck yeah! Take that, Dracula! Then, silence. Thud! A body hit the ground with such impact that it exploded and coated everything nearby in a shower of blood and gore. The gentle flapping of leather wings carried upon the night wind. The man in the scrubs had transformed into his monstrous and vicious vampire lord form. In his left hand, he held what was left of Megaton's head. He smiled as he held it and looked at me as he took a bite out of Megaton's face and chewed on his flesh. "Finish the others off. Leave this one to me," he quietly whispered, and no sooner did those words leave his ashen gray lips than the other soldiers fell silent as they too joined their friends as killed in action. "This is it, Caroline Quinn. This is where you die. Rianne, I'm sorry I wasn't better to you." The menacing vampire lord flew right down in front of me and stood up to his full hulking height and towered above me. Jesus, this guy was huge. We share the same blood, you and I. We're the next step in ascending what humanity can be. We are better than the cattle around us. Great. Not only am I going to die here, but I have to listen to this dickhead monologue before he kills me. Or something worse. Think. Okay, maybe that'll work. A piece of the shredded helicopter, about as long as a baseball bat and sharp as hell, I can probably reach it, if I can keep this idiot talking and inching me backwards. How are we alike, exactly? I'm not exactly feeling the whole undead vibe or looking like something from a horror movie. Keep him talking. I've known about others like you for a long time. You aren't as special as you think. You're what was created long ago by those who helped us escape the confinements of the void. Okay, I have no fucking clue what this guy is talking about. I know who I am, and more or less where I came from. Right? I slowly back up and keep my eye on a piece of shrapnel I'm hoping to turn into a weapon. Void, huh? Sounds like a nightclub. Your attempts at delaying your fate are amusing, but it stops here. Join others like yourself and take your place at the unholy throne, at the head of humanity. Turn this diseased world into a paradise for those wronged by that from above. I am not getting into a religious debate with this goddamn monster. I stop, and I can feel my hand touch the hot steel of the shrapnel. You know what? I'm good. I grab the piece of metal like a sword and absolutely throw all of my momentum into a forward swing at this thing's head. It blocks the strike with its clawed hand. Oh shit. It gets a solid grip on my left arm and breaks it at the wrist and throws me aside roughly. I tumble toward the helicopter near the entranceway and skid right into the doorframe. The vampire lord continues advancing towards me. Okay, that didn't work. I quickly assessed my situation, and I got one last Hail Mary, as it were. Just inside the wreckage is one of the helicopter-mounted weapons, and it looks relatively intact despite its crash. The barrel appears to be fine, and it seems spooled up to the magazine. I start crawling my way inside the crash and try my best not to get burned by the dying fires. You chose to hide like a coward rather than live as a god among mortals? Okay, it's time to shut the fuck up. I pull myself forward and aim the mounted minigun out the ruined door and squeeze the triggers on both sides of the weapon. It hums to life with an electric whirl as it begins to spin its rotating barrels. This minigun fires more of the enhanced ammo, except it's 7.62, which means that our vampire lord friend pretty much liquefies when I hit him with hundreds of rounds, if not thousands of rounds per minute. He doesn't even have a chance to look surprised before I completely turn him into paste. There isn't much left of him besides a pair of shoes, and I'm totally okay with that. Silence fills the air once again as soon as I stop firing, and the barrels wind down as the electric motor disengages. I won. I take myself outside of the ruined chopper and back outside into the night once again. I stand up and cradle my broken wrist and notice a distinct lack of undead in my immediate area. I fiddle inside my vest and look for my phone and call in to Director Carlson. Agent Quinn here. Operation a success. Vampire Lord eliminated. The other vampires escaped. My team is gone. Everyone is gone. Megaton, Phase, Mnemonic. Everyone except me. This wasn't a success. Not by a long shot. Understood. Beginning Cradle of Liberty protocol. Your country thanks you for your service, Agent Quinn. Wait, what? Total elimination of the target zone in 15 minutes. Goodbye, Agent Quinn. The line went dead, and so did every light in the city, and it was darkness, and the sound of something sinister in the evening air. This was not my idea of a Halloween prank. This is definitely not a treat. This had to be a trick, right? This was not worth 2 weeks of vacation. Doorway to Horror by Rob Fields. Perspective, Madeline Donnerly. You just know it's Friday for a couple reasons. The first is because you know as soon as you're done with school, it's the weekend. The second is a couple hands slamming on the table I'm sitting at in the cafeteria at lunchtime. Yes? I ask Ariel Mirren. I hate you, mouse, Ariel growls. Then she points right at me. I will never give up. I will see you scared out of your wits one of these days. I'm laughing inside now. If only Ariel knew how many opportunities she could have had to see me get scared. Well, I sure ain't gonna tell her. Still, I can't really say she'll never get me. I'm sure one of these days will be her lucky day. Ariel puts her hands on the table again, softer now. Slumber party at my house tonight. Same time as last Friday. You still bringing those Christmas movies over you said you just got? Unless you want me to bring some other stuff, I reply. No, bring those. Also, Mona said she's got a movie for us to see tonight. She sits down now. You ever heard of a movie called Doorway to Horror? Can't say I have. Then I pull out my phone and do some searching. I ain't even seen it on IMDb or any of the other sites. Now, I did find an old VHS horror game called Doorways to Horror. Not exactly the same thing, I don't think. Did Mona tell you where she got it? Nuh-uh. Ariel looks uneasy. Once in a while, Mona will find something. She's not you or Bailey, though. You two know your movies. Speaking of Bailey, that's one of the movies we're seeing tonight. It's a Christmas horror story. Ariel raises her finger. Oh, hey, gate code changed yesterday. She tells it to me. You got it, Mouse? Yup. Then Ariel narrows her eyes on me. You haven't seen Carter around here, have you? I shake my head. Don't tell me he's posting videos of you on Facebook again. She nods quickly. He always seems to be there whenever I got Stuart with me. She points right at me. You're not covering for him, are you? You think I forgot you two are best buds? I promise you I ain't covering for him. Ariel holds out her little finger. You willing to pinky promise on it? I make the pinky promise with her. I really don't know where he is. Maybe he's with the other guys. Ariel shakes her head. Nope. Look. I look to where she's pointing. Bill Chapman, Richie Horton, and Brian Chunk are coming into the cafeteria. No Carter, though. A moment later, the guys come over to us. Ariel confronts him. Where's Carter? I know you guys know where he is. What makes you think we'd even tell you if we did know? Chapman replies. He's the tough guy with the burr haircut. I'm not above administering decisive methods of torture on you guys, Ariel replies. All I have to do is divide and conquer. Chunker points at her and tells the other two, Aw, this I gotta see. He's the husky guy wearing the cargo shorts with an open Hawaiian shirt over a black t-shirt. Don't tempt fate, you guys, Horton warns him. He's the skinny guy wearing the glasses with circular lenses. I keep telling you how evil Ariel Mirren is. One of these days you're going to wish you'd have listened to me. Ariel smirks. I'd be listening to Horton if I were you guys. She points to him. But you're not off the hook. Horton grins and looks her in the eyes. Why don't you just look over your left shoulder? Ariel quickly turns and sees my buddy and next-door neighbor Carter Cross. The next thing we know, Ariel's running off and chasing Carter down. Yesterday, he recorded a video of Ariel and Stuart at Denoyer's Grill. He slipped away and started running around and wreaking havoc. I know this because she texted me asking for help. 911 at Denoyer's. Stuart! Fortunately for Ariel, I happened to be in the area on my mongoose and stopped in. I was able to get Stuart to calm down and behave. I don't know what it is about that little guy, but he likes me enough to where he always minds me. I don't even have to yell at him. Anyway, Carter was already there before me and recording Ariel losing her mind. He put the video on Facebook and got everybody laughing at her. When the guys get their lunches, they come and sit with me. The four of us have some good conversation before we gotta go back to class. That night, I'm walking to Ariel's house. When I reach the Mirren-gated community, I punch in the new code and go in. Never seems to fail. Every time I walk to Ariel's on Friday nights, there's always a few Mirrens who walk past me and give me looks like I don't belong inside. I gotta walk a few blocks before I get to Capitol Court. When I reach the double doors, one of them opens. Ariel appears and says, "Wow, you're actually here before Mona and Bailey, Mouse." Then she steps aside and lets me come in. It's about 20 minutes later when Mona Abels and Bailey Downs finally show up. "Sorry, Ariel," Mona says. "I had to help Mom with something at home." "You're good," Ariel replies. "After the week I've had, I just want to hang with my girls and let loose." "At least your aunt never dropped Stuart off here while we're having our slumber parties," Bailey says. Ariel points right at her. "You do not even get to say that." Mona and Bailey laugh a little. Ariel gives me that look that asks why she puts up with him. I give her a smirk that says not to worry about it. After some socializing, Ariel gets the pizzas ordered. From there, we start spinning some movies. First up is A Christmas Horror Story. As soon as the name of the town is mentioned, Bailey gives us all weird looks. "First Ginger Snaps and now this one," she mutters. "What other movies have the town named the same as mine?" "Orphan Black," I reply. "It's a TV series." Bailey points right at Ariel. "Why do I get the feeling you had something to do with this? Was this because Mona and I weren't spending the night at the mall with you last weekend?" Then Ariel grabs a pillow and throws it at Bailey. She catches it and laughs. Ariel points at her. "Not funny." Then she smirks. "Okay, Bailey, you can go out and get our pizzas then." Bailey gets off the couch. "Fine." Perspective, Bailey Downs. After I bring our pizzas in, Mouse resumes the Blu-ray of A Christmas Horror Story. I have the feeling Ariel put Mouse up to bringing this movie over, in spite of the fact that it takes place in a town with the same name as mine. It is a really good horror anthology, though. I really love the twist in the Santa vs. Krampus story. We also watched the original Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night. We don't get to lay down for the night after 3 movies. Mona announces that she's got a movie she wants us to see, which is called Doorway to Horror. When Ariel asks what it's about, Mona doesn't know. Believe it or not, I found it just sitting on a table in study hall. It's a burned Blu-ray, but it plays. I put it in my laptop and checked it. The opening scene looks really creepy, so I thought I'd bring it to the sleepover to share. Ariel turns to Mouse. "I'm guessing you didn't turn up anything else on it?" Mouse shrugs. "I tried all kinds of searches when I got home. Nothing." So we sit back and let Mona spin her find. There are all kinds of Christmas things in the movie, but the town looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic story. We're eating more pizza and drinking some more of the Cokes that Mona and I snuck over in our backpacks. You gotta love that Mrs. Mirren won't let her own family drink any sugary sodas. It's diet or nothing. The 4 of us are talking about the movie once it's over. There really wasn't any dialogue or anything. Maybe David Lynch lost the one copy of a new movie he was working on, I half joke. We've seen some pretty weird stuff since we started doing our sleepovers years ago, Ariel says. You've brought over stuff like this before, Mouse. I ain't denying it, she agrees. Doorway to horror still don't ring a bell with me, though. Guess you made a rare find, Mona. Yeah, kudos, I tell my best friend. We talk for a little while longer before we're finally yawning our heads off. The nice thing about this big living room is there are enough couches for all of us to sleep on. Ariel sleeps on one too, even though her bedroom is the first one on entering the hallway. It don't take us all long to fall asleep. Perspective, Mona Abels. I'm the first one to wake up. I yawn and feel how parched I am. Knowing we still got cans of Coke left, I grab one and feel grateful. I stop drinking and notice something weird. Did I just take a power nap or something? 'Cause it still seems like it's dark out. I look at my smartwatch and see it's blank across the screen. I find my smartphone underneath my pillow and see the same blanks where the date and time should be. Then I see Mouse's phone and look at hers. She's got the same blanks too. Seriously, what gives? I need to see what time it is. As soon as I come out of my comforter, I'm quickly wrapping my arms around myself and start shivering. Boy, it's really cold in Ariel's mansion. So cold I can see my own breath, like when I'm outside. I see Ariel's bedroom door open and peek inside. My eyes are wide when I see there's no windows. I mean, the cold's just blowing right into the house. I walk down the hall to the next bedroom and see there ain't no windows there either. Then I hear movement and return to the living room. Ariel's getting out from underneath her comforter. Why is it so cold in here? Then Ariel sees me. Mona? Why aren't there any windows, Ariel? I ask. She gives me a weird look. What? No, I'll show you. I grab Ariel's hand and bring her to her own room. You have got to be kidding me, Ariel gasps. We move to a few other rooms and see no windows. We go into the bathroom. Normally there's scented pillar candles on either side of the mirror on the sink. Looks like there's only one that remains of the said candles. When we come back out, we see Bailey and Mouse are up now. Boy, it sure got cold fast, Bailey states. What I wouldn't give for some hot coffee right now, Mouse mutters. Then Mouse turns and walks to the front window. She turns to us fast. There's only a big window shade here, as in no big window here. What's going on, Ariel? Ariel goes to Mouse and sees for herself. What on earth is going on here? Beats me, Mouse answers. And what time is it? Ariel snaps. That's what I've been trying to find out, I say. Our phones and watches ain't working. Ariel quickly goes to the closet and starts tossing us our jackets. We take them and head into separate rooms to get changed. We're all dressed to go outside now. But when we do go outside... What the? Bailey gasps. Everything looks like what we saw in your movie, Mona, Ariel states. Aw man, you gotta be kidding me, Mouse groans. Not again. We all look right at Mouse now. Do you know something about this? Ariel asks her. If we are where I think we are, we're gonna be in terrible danger. Fast, Mouse quickly answers. Just spit it out, Mouse, I snap. We ain't in Strickfield no more. Perspective, Ariel Mirren. I give Mouse wide eyes. Excuse me? I was really hoping to never see this place ever again, Mouse groans. Then she tells us we need to go back inside. We go back inside the house. Then I get an idea and turn on my smartphone flash. What in the... Are you serious? Mona adds. No, we're not seeing things. My house is trashed, and I mean trashed. Then I point right at Mouse. Okay, start talking. Mouse brings up the night in October when she went to the horror-thon at the Strickfield Centennial Theater with her twin cousin Aileen, Carter Cross, and Bella Tabon. They had watched a screening of a film called The Portal. It was like everything had changed. Places were trashed, much like my house. Windows were mostly missing in the homes. It was night all the time, but what was worse, everybody was a vampire. The 4 of them barely escaped this place and made it back to Strickfield. Mouse says we're in an alternate universe, where it's all vampires. We're all in terrible danger, she finishes. Any of those vampires sees us, they'll be after us. Here it's like Marvel zombies. After everybody suddenly became vampires, they drank up all the living people they could get their hands on. Now, like those zombies after a few days, they're out of food. Bailey quickly waves her hands in front of her. Okay, assuming Mouse isn't making this stuff up here, how did we get here? It had to have been that movie Mona brought over, Doorway to Horror, Mouse guesses. Mona points right at Mouse. Oh, no you don't. You ain't blaming me for this, you wicked little rodent. I raise my hand in front of me. No, I think Mouse is right, Mona. Everything we saw in that disc you brought over was much like where we are now. Nobody's blaming you about this place, but you did bring that disc over. Let's find the disc then, Mouse says. We can watch it again and get back home. We had to re-watch The Portal to get back home 2 months ago. We searched through everything. All the movies Mouse brought over are still here. But the disc Mona brought is gone. Where is it? Mona shrieks. Oh wait, here it is. She raises it up for us to see. I point to Mona. Keep hold of that. Now we just have to find something to watch it on. That'll be easier said than done, Mouse says. Power's a little hard to come by here. They shattered every window, every mirror. I don't know how they're keeping it night here, but they're doing it. Then I see Bailey move toward the kitchen. I follow her and see her opening one of the 2 refrigerators. She turns to me. Whatever food we've got, we're going to have to ration it until we can find more. Without power, the refrigerators aren't working. Also, we can't eat a single bite of the food in either of them. I point to the cupboards. We search them in the pantry and find a few things we can take with us. We head back out to the others. There's not much here. Maybe for a day, 2 tops. I divide the food evenly between all of us, including the Cokes and what was left of the pizzas. What are we doing? Mona asked. You heard Mouse, I tell her. We've got to find something to play this disc to get back home. We're going to have to leave and find some place. In fact, I quickly unplug the Blu-ray player and stuff it in my backpack. We make a quick plan and agree we need to go downtown. We stay together, everybody, I stress. Before we leave, Mouse hands everybody crosses she made. Whatever you do, don't lose them. Mouse just gave me an idea. We probably should stop by a church, Bailey suggests. Mouse points to her. Good thinking. We all wish each other good luck before we head out through the front doors. Perspective, Madeline Donner. So much for us going to churches. We hit a few in downtown Village and saw they were wrecked. The windows were all broken out, pews were destroyed or overturned, even the altars were busted up. What was even worse were the skeletons with their religious garb still on. Only thing I can figure is whatever happened to turn people into vampires didn't hit everybody. The ones that weren't turned became food for the vamps. At least our trips to the 2 churches weren't total washouts. We managed to find some holy wafers and even some holy water itself. Sure would be nice if we had squirt guns like in the Lost Boys, but all we found were a few vials and bottles. We leave the second church and sneak over to a few markets. We don't find much in terms of food, just dry goods and a few cans of soup. The refrigerators and freezers probably haven't been working in a very long time, so the food in them won't be any good. We duck in back of Wilder's Market to work out another plan. Everybody has ideas to bring to the table. Then Ariel suggests heading out to Strickfield Town Center Mall. Mona turns to her. You do realize how far the mall is from downtown Village, right? And on foot? Who said anything about walking? Ariel replies. Then she looks my way. We find a car and get Mouse here to drive it. Mona gives her a weird look. You have got to be kidding me. Ariel shakes her head. Nope. You should have seen her drive at the mall last weekend. Bailey sighs. Okay, let's do it. There are plenty of cars outside. I would imagine we can find one that works. Ariel slaps my arm. You up for it, Mouse? I shrug. I guess I ain't got a choice. Mona groans. Yeah, we're gonna die. Bailey scoffs at Mona. Oh, have a little faith, will ya? Mona groans again, then she notices something. You know, we've seen a lot of Christmas stuff. You think all this went down during the holidays? She looks sad now. What a time for something like a vampire apocalypse to happen. The rest of us are sad for a moment. Then we head out back to the parking lot where there's a nice selection of cars to choose from. We can't be picky, you guys, Bailey says. Just find one that's got keys. I raise my finger. Just one thing. Once we get a car started, if there's any vamps nearby, they're gonna hear it. We gotta be ready for that. And you know this how? Mona sneers. I don't want to tell her how I know without giving away my connection to Mary Worth and Cousin Aileen's BFF Bells. I just know, okay? Yeah, we're gonna die, Mona repeats. We split up and look for cars. After some minutes, Mona gets our attention. We come over to her. Keys are in the ignition, doors are unlocked. When Ariel starts looking it over, Bailey groans. Come on, it's not going to be a fancy limo you're used to being in. Ariel gasps. Really, Bailey? I'm checking the car to make sure it looks good, you know? For flat tires and stuff. Okay, sorry, Bailey mutters. Looks good, Ariel says. Okay, Mouse, get behind the wheel and hope this thing starts. Aw, man, I squeak when I open the door and get in. Now I feel Ariel's hand on my shoulder. Are you actually scared, Mouse? I glance over my shoulder. Aw, please. Which is a lie. This little mousie is definitely scared. I just don't want Ariel seeing it on me. I turn the key and... Perspective, Bailey Downs. The engine cranks and cranks and cranks. Ugh. You guys, look! Oh God, Mona shrieks. Vamps! Start the car, Mouse! I'm trying, Mouse cries. The vampires are leaping from car to car, or they're running. It's when they're almost to us that the car finally starts. Go, Mouse, go! Ariel yells. Mouse has to study the controls. Okay, hoping I can do this. Never drove a stick. Now I put a hand on her shoulder. You're a gamer, Mouse. You're not here with us right now. You're in Roth's Rings, playing a racing game. Go with that. Okay, let's hope I got this, Mouse stammers. Just as the vamps are shattering the windows, Mouse puts the car in gear and stutters a little. Then she takes a deep breath and shifts again. Finally, we're moving away. We pull out of the parking lot and out onto Main Street. Mouse hits the clutch and shifts again. Looks like she's got the hang of it now. There ain't no mirrors on this car, Mona says, riding shotgun. You wouldn't see any vamps in the mirrors even if we did have them, Mouse tells her. No reflections! The little squeaker's right, Ariel says, looking out the back. We got bats coming fast. I hate you, Mouse. Yeah, Mouse mutters. We good on gas? Mona asks Mouse. Don't know. Gas gauge just shot from half a tank all the way down to the big E fast. Hopefully we'll be able to get to the mall. Then I'm having second thoughts. I didn't think this through. Maybe the mall's ravaged too. Everything's probably ravaged, Bailey, Ariel says, but we have to try and look for some place that has power. In fact, I think I have an idea. Ariel explains that the hardware store in the mall should have gasoline-powered generators. All we have to do is find one. Then we would siphon the gas out of the cars at the mall and power it. From there, we find a TV, hook up the Blu-ray player, and then we're back home. That'll be easier said than done, I say. But what else is there? Mouse keeps the car going. Ariel and I are still seeing the bats flapping after us. We have to get them off our backs if we're going to make your plan work, Ariel. Mouse has something. I got an idea for that. When we get to the mall, I'll drive around to the under-mall parking garage. I won't pull inside, though. I'll drop you three off there, and then hopefully the vamps will keep following me. How will you make it back? I ask. We can't go home without you. Let me worry about that. You guys work on getting Ariel's plan to work. I put my hand on Mouse's shoulder. You just make sure you get back to us. And try not to get vamped or eaten, Mona adds. Hey, I want to go back home too. We all got something to return to, right? Trust me. I'll make it back, Mouse promises. Ariel takes a deep breath, then she just says it. Carter Cross asked me out last weekend, when we were at the mall. I never did give him an answer. I turned to her. Seriously? Mona turns around. No way! Then she bumps Mouse's shoulder. Did you know? You and Carter are BFFs. I know you tell each other everything. Mouse shakes her head. Nope. But it's no secret in our group that Carter and Ariel like each other. I hate you, Mouse, Ariel growls. Mouse shrugs. I'm just saying. Ariel bows her head, looking sad. I'm just wishing I would have told him I'd go out with him. She raises her head. That's why I want to make it and get back home. I'm sure you girls have something to return to, too. My family, I quickly say. Denoyer's Grill, Mona gushes. I don't want to be stuck here in some vampire universe and no Denoyer's Grill. Or no coffee, Mouse adds. I think it's safe to say we all loved our lives in Strickfield before this happened, I say. Then a thought. Did you make it out this way when you were here last, Mouse? Nope. We got as far as Strickfield Academy. Wish I could tell you more than what I already know. Okay, we're here. Turning in. Mouse turns us into a mall entrance and floors it, making sure she shifts when she needs to. Wow, I can't believe little Mouse learned to drive playing all those racing video games. Honestly, I thought she was an oddball when Ariel invited her to join our group. Mona and I didn't like her for the longest time. However, Mouse grows on you after a while. I'm just glad she's with us right now. She's the reason we're all still alive. Get ready, Mouse tells us. Mouse drifts us again as we round the mall and head for the under-mall parking garage. Before we get there, she hits the brakes and swerves to a stop. Go! Mouse belts out. Ariel, Mona, and I quickly get out of the car. After we slam the doors shut, Ariel belts back at Mouse. Go! Mouse floors it as we're in the garage and hiding out of sight. The bats are flying after Mouse. I just hope they don't see the three of us ain't in the car with her. Even more so, I hope they don't get Mouse. Perspective, Mona Abels. The three of us wait for a little bit. We ain't seeing no vamps in the sky. I think we're good. They're all after Mouse. We better get a move on, Bailey says. We may be on borrowed time as it is. We walk in the under-mall parking garage and come to the mall entrance there. The doors are ripped right off, so no worries on whether that entrance was locked or not. We walk the corridor and go up the steps. Soon we're in the food court, coming out at the double doors beside Scotto's Pizza. Even though it's dark all through the mall, we can see enough to see there are Christmas decorations all over the place. There's tinsel hanging off the ceilings, fully decorated Christmas trees spread out, animatronic scenes, though they're not working with no electricity, and there's the Santa's house not too far from where we are. Salmo's Hardware is down by J.C. Penney, Ariel says. Oh, I sure hope so, I groan. What do you mean? Ariel demands. Mouse said we're in a parallel universe, right? How do we know things are going to be the same here as back home? I state. She's got a point, Bailey tells Ariel, but we still need to check, Mona. Ariel takes a deep breath. Okay, I'm going to head out and look around. I'll signal when the coast is clear. We should just go out together, Bailey counters. You know, safety in numbers. Okay, fine, Ariel replies. Come on. We start walking away from Scotto's Pizza. We can see the mall's wrecked, but it doesn't look all that bad. I mean, The gates look messed up and some of the store signs are damaged. I don't know, it's like someone's gone to lengths to try to make this mall look nice again. Then I have a gut feeling. You guys, I don't think we're alone in here, I tell them, then explain why. I don't look for this to be easy, Ariel agrees. Look out! Bailey suddenly shrieks. We see someone flying right at us and quickly get out of the way. How dare you come into my mall? A voice roars behind us. Then we make the mistake of stopping and looking behind us. It's Harmony Mirren, my cousin, Ariel gasps. She owns this mall. Your cousin? I ask. The one who had you hanging decorations here last weekend? Ariel nods quickly. Yeah, except she wasn't all vamped out like this Harmony is. Then Harmony sniffs our way. Her human face suddenly shifts into one that looks like the Joker, only with lots and lots of sharp teeth. Food! I'm ready to turn and run, but Ariel quickly stops me. We can't outrun her. Use your head. Or better yet, Ariel pulls out her cross that Mouse made, just as Harmony's flying our way. She shrieks and suddenly drops to the floor. Bailey and I join her and keep Harmony down. Start walking back, Ariel tells us. We do what Ariel says and start moving in the direction of JCPenney. Harmony gets back to her feet, but advances very slowly. You really think you're going to be safe from me? Harmony hisses. The last mortals who came into my mall made a very tasty candlelit dinner. She points a very long finger at us. I think I'll have you three by candlelight as well. She laughs a horrible laughter. Especially since today is Christmas. Yeah, we don't plan on staying, Bailey tells her. I don't care about your plans, Harmony yells. I only care about my home here at my mall. Other vampires and mortals tried to take what was mine, but I showed them the error of their ways. Nobody takes what's mine. Nobody. Oh, we're not here to take anything from you, Ariel says. We actually just want to visit your beautiful mall, dear cousin, and I must say you've done very well with the Christmas decorations. Harmony growls a dangerous growl. Then she howls at us. The next thing we know, she's suddenly gone. Help! She's got me! Oh no, she warped right behind Bailey. Harmony suddenly pulls Bailey to her and leaps back with her. Drop those crosses or I promise you, I'll drink this one up for some early Christmas Day punch right here and now. Don't do it! Bailey yells. She'll drink me anyway! Ariel holds out her hand. Just stop, Harmony. We're not here to take anything from your mall. We just want to go home. But we need a few things in your mall to help us get there. Then Ariel moves her arm around. Like I said, you've really made this place look great. I mean, your Christmas decorations are so lovely. She raises her finger. But what if we could really brighten up the place? I mean, what if we could light up the Christmas trees and stuff? Harmony growls again. Then she grabs Bailey's head and cocks it to expose her neck. She raises her head, ready to lower it, to bite her. Stop! What do you want, Harmony? Ariel cries. I already have you. You are mortals. You are food, Harmony yells. And today, you are Christmas dinner. Ariel puts her cross down. Okay, look, see? No cross. Now I'm going to come to you. I'll switch places with Bailey, okay? Then you can have me. Suddenly, Harmony appears right behind Ariel and snatches her up. Weren't you listening, mortal? I already have you. She points right at me. As for your pathetic crosses, my cross suddenly catches fire. I cry out and drop it. The other crosses are on fire too. Harmony moves her mouth to Ariel's ear. And exactly how will you light up my Christmas display when there's no power? She seems to calm down a little bit. I would love to see Christmas lights one more time. There hasn't been a Christmas since the plague came years ago. I'm so very hungry, but I would forsake my hunger just to see my mall brightly lit for Christmas. One more time. We can talk then? Ariel asks. Harmony lets her go, then morphs her face back to normal. I would hear you. She points to a table in the food court. Sit. We reluctantly move to the table and sit with Harmony. As Ariel's digging into her backpack, Harmony quickly snatches her wrist. Do not try and trick me, and especially do not play on my generosity. Ariel pulls out a Coke. I just needed something to drink. Harmony nods. After Ariel has her drink, she explains to Harmony that we can't get the power back on completely. However, if Salmo's Hardware still has a gas-powered generator, we can siphon gas from the cars, then we can connect extension cords to the Christmas trees and the animatronics to get them working. At least, for a little while. Harmony considers Ariel. Then she says, my parents were too greedy to install backup generators when they built this mall. I wish I'd have thought to correct that mistake in life. Okay, I'll take you to Salmo's Hardware. One wrong move, and it's dinner time. I won't worry about Christmas Day candlelight. We leave the food court and walk to the hardware store. Using our smartphone lights, we look around until we find what we're looking for. Perspective, aerial mirroring. We find only 4 gas-powered generators, still in the box. We're probably not going to be able to light up your whole mall, Harmony. I just want the Christmas lights, the big tree, and the displays around the food court powered, Harmony replies. I point to Mona. Grab all the extension cords. I point to Bailey. Gas cans and a rubber hose to siphon the fuel. Harmony and I start ripping open the boxes and getting the generators ready. When my girls return, we talk. I piled up all the extension cords at the store's entrance, Mona says. I also piled up as many gas cans as I could find, which wasn't much, Bailey adds. Then she glares at me. I suppose Mona and I get to siphon the gas now. I get where Bailey's coming from. No, I'll go out and do it. We don't have time for this. Bailey quickly puts a hand on my shoulder. No, you're right. I'm sorry. Go get the generators and the extension cord set up. I'll go out and get the gas. I ain't letting you go out there by yourself, Mona snaps. You know what? Let's all go get the gas, I suggest. At least it'll be one thing we won't have to do later. Harmony suddenly appears. Do not even think about escaping. I am too resolved for things such as that. I tell Harmony we're just going down to the parking garage to siphon gas from the cars there. Maybe you could come with us. You can say we're your slaves if any other vampires show up. When she's still not sure, I groan. Harmony, come on! Where are we going to go? Harmony accompanies us to the parking garage and watches us fill the gas cans. Since she doesn't breathe, she can't really help us. She can warp the cans back into the mall and bring us more to fill until we filled every single container we were able to find. All I have to say is that Mouse better still be making tracks. Yuck! I'll never get that taste of gasoline out of my mouth. Ugh! We go back into the mall and work to connect as many extension cords as we can to the generators. To show Harmony my plan will work, we gas up a generator and plug some stuff in. I fire it up. You should have seen the bright smile on Harmony's face when she sees a few Christmas trees and some lights and a few animatronic displays come to life. Then the big tree and the Santa house lights burst into life. Yes! Harmony breathes like she's a little girl seeing her first Christmas all over again. It takes us some more time, but we get everything we're able to get hooked up, connected. When the generators are all running, Harmony's very happy. At one point, she's kneeling down in front of the very big Christmas tree next to Santa's house. For the record, this tree is not in our mall back home, unless our Harmony put it in just after she banned us all from the mall last weekend. It surprises me that this particular vampire seems more interested in Christmas than in drinking our blood. I mean, you should see how Harmony's eyes are glowing. Not literally glowing, I mean. I don't know. Christmas must hold some special value in her undead heart somewhere. If our Harmony holds Christmas in the same regard, she certainly never showed it the way this one does. "It's been so very long," she whispers. "It feels like I've waited a lifetime just to experience Christmas Day like this again." She slowly turns to look at me. "And many of us died so long ago when we were suddenly turned into vampires." Mona and Bailey slowly approach. "Is everything okay?" Mona asks. "We got all we could started up for you, Harmony," Bailey adds. "Sorry we couldn't get it all working. We just didn't have enough generators." Harmony stands up. Now she's crying. Human tears. I heard the ones back home cried blood. Anyway, I never thought vampires were even capable of crying. Of course, I recall meeting my first real vampire last weekend. Harmony puts gentle hands on both Mona and Bailey's shoulders. "You gave me enough." Then I have a burning question. Who did this to you?" Harmony's still crying softly. "I can't say for sure how it all began, but I do know our esteemed mayor was heavily involved. Mayor Patrick Gunter and a few of his converts tried to take my mall, but I drove them out." Before Harmony can finish her story, we hear fluttering noises coming. Harmony hisses in the direction and looks at us. "It's Mayor Gunter again. He and his army must know you three are in here," she says. "You are my Christmas dinner. Mine! He can't have you." Mona gulps. "You're still gonna kill us after what we did for you?" Harmony vamps out again, making us shriek, and raises her claws. "He can't have you!" She snatches up Bailey. "You belong to me now." She sounds really crazy. I quickly reach into my pack and slap one of the holy wafers on the back of my hand. Harmony shrieks, causing her to drop Bailey. Then she holds her hand as she falls to her knees and cries again. "I hate being this way," she chokes out. "I've consumed so many mortals just to satisfy my never-ending hunger. I hate being so hungry all the time. I hate that it drives me to this insanity. I don't want to kill you, but I'm so very hungry." "You won't have the chance to satisfy your hunger, Harmony Mirren," a new voice calls out. We all turn and face Mayor Patrick Gunter and his army of the living dead. I think it's safe to say we've never been so scared in all our lives. Mona quickly leans in and whispers that the Blu-ray player is set up and ready. Then Bailey nods to one of the monitors in the food court. The movie Doorway to Horror is playing now. Soon we may be able to return home, but now I'm feeling despair, just like Harmony. "Mouse!" I choke out. "We can't leave her here. We can't, you guys. She's our friend. She's one of us." Bailey nods quickly, but Mona doesn't look so sure. I'm ready to smack her arm and tell her to just grow up. But then she explains her look. If Mouse was going to find her way back here, she would have done it already, right? Mona shakes her head. Those vamps probably got her. Don't you think Mouse would want us to go back? That's why she dropped us off here and sped off herself. Mayor Gunter points right at us. You foolish children think I can't hear what you're saying? You will end that movie immediately. He waves his hand. Two of his vampires bring Mouse out. No! These vampires were the bats chasing us. They did catch up to Mouse. What happened to you? I ask her. Car ran out of gas, she mutters. I said the gas gauge was busted. I was hoping You got away and made it back home by now. Mayor Gunter suddenly grabs Mouse and lifts her up to him. You will stop the movie now, or I satisfy my hunger with this little morsel. Decide. Fast. I quickly raise my hands out in front of me. Okay, stop! We surrender. Perspective, Bailey Downs. Mayor Gunter's still holding Mouse up to him. He arches her neck and is ready to bite her. No way, Mona sneers. I ain't giving myself up for a little rodent. Go ahead and eat her. Look at her, Mayor. Just look at her. There ain't no meat on her bones. She won't have nearly enough blood to satisfy you. She probably don't even have half the blood the rest of us have. Bailey turns to her. What are you doing? Mona ignores her. Don't you see? She's just a troublesome little rodent. She don't belong with us. She never did. So go ahead, put her out of her misery. Mouse tightens her jaw and glares right at Mona. She doesn't say anything, but if looks could kill, I think this is as close to mad as I've ever seen little Madeline Donnerly get. Then I see the first signs of flickering near the TV and see what looks like a portal starting to form. Mayor Gunter roars with anger. I sent that disc to your universe and hope one of you mortals would find it and bring more food back to us, proving our latest experiment a success. But none of you are returning to your universe. Last time, stop playing the movie or I make a quick snack out of your friend here. Then, I'll claim the rest. Take her then, Mona goads him on. Then she tells Mouse, I never did like you. Now I'll finally be rid of you. In fact, why don't you have a drink of this before you become vampire chow? Mona throws Mouse a bottle of water. Then my spirit lifts. Mouse catches the bottle and quickly opens it. She splashes the water in Mayor Gunter's face, which sizzles and burns immediately. Once he drops Mouse, she immediately comes to us. You really had me going there, Mouse tells Mona. What? Oops, I guess I gave you the wrong bottle, Mona snaps. Yeah, Mona never likes to show how she really feels to Mouse, but Mona's not moving to shove Mouse back to the vampires, so I know she truly meant to save her. I do know my best friend. Mayor Gunter points to all of us. Kill them! Then he really vamps out. I mean, if this is a head vampire and he's got an ultimate form, this must be it. He's much bigger now. He looks much uglier. He looks like a scary, bat-like creature, but with clothes on. He turns and focuses on the movie. The portal's not ready yet, but if he destroys the TV or the player, we're never going home. I'm pulling out my holy water and wafers, and am ready to make a last stand. Ariel sees what I'm doing and is joining me. Just as Mona's digging into her pack, Harmony Mirren suddenly flies right onto Mayor Gunter's back. She's clawing with rage at him. Unfortunately, Harmony's just too small and not nearly powerful enough to win against Mayor Gunter. Now he's holding her up by her throat. Winning the office of mayor was so easy, he brags. Bringing this vampire existence to our world was even easier. But destroying you, I'm going to enjoy this. You have been nothing but a thorn in my side, Harmony Mirren. You fought to keep me out of office. You even failed to stop me from conquering this world, and you will fail to save your new friends. But suddenly Harmony's face starts to burn. What gives? Then her mouth practically erupts when she blasts something into his face. Yeah, that's it! Holy water! She must have found our bottles in our packs and she's really trying to help us get home. Mayor Gunter and Harmony both fall. Harmony's face looks just awful, but you should see Mayor Gunter. Harmony got him good. Now the other vampires start coming at us, just as the portal is finally open. Harmony forces herself to her feet now. She looks just hideous. I don't think she's going to heal up from this. She grabs us and turns us to the portal. Get out of here! Go back to your home. You live. What about you? Ariel yells. You'll die if you stay here. I can't come to your universe with you, Harmony tells her, anticipating what Ariel's thinking. I'm so tainted. I've devoured mortals before, and I'll only want to devour your people to satisfy my hunger. I'll stay here and see that you all get home safely. Go! Now! The four of us turn and run to the portal. Harmony's pushing us along. Move! Faster! Closer, closer, so close, almost there. When we finally reach the portal, I'm wondering if this is going to truly take us back home, or we'll end up in some other universe. I'll destroy the disc once you're through, Harmony promises us. Thank you for giving me Christmas again. Even if just for a few short minutes. Now, I give you your freedom in return. Merry Christmas. Before we can say anything in the way of thanks, Harmony grabs each of us with her vampire speed and shoves us through the portal. All we see are many flashes of different colored lights, kind of Christmassy, before the four of us will find out if we made it home or not. Perspective, Mona Abels. I gasp and suddenly sit up to see I'm in Ariel's living room. I'm seeing everybody else is awake now too. Bailey gets off her couch and comes to us. Are you guys all right? The rest of us nod quickly. There's enough light in here to tell it's probably morning. In fact, Ariel goes right to the curtains and opens them. Warm light comes in. Then Ariel goes right to Mouse. You weren't turned! Mouse shakes her head quickly. Once they got me, I really thought I'd had it. All I thought about was hoping you guys got home. Yeah, I'm lucky, all right. I'm actually surprised when Ariel pulls Mouse into her arms and hugs her. Then Mouse hugs her back. Eventually, they come apart. I always wondered what Ariel saw in that wicked little rodent. I mean, she totally clashes with the rest of us. She's just a nerd. Seriously. Why does Ariel like her so much? Mouse quickly picks up her smartphone. It's almost 10. The rest of us go to our phones. I can see my watch is working right again. Looks like we're really home, you guys, Bailey says. I can even feel how nice and warm it is here compared to when we woke up in that vampire universe. Then Mouse has a thought and checks something. Yep. Looks like both your Blu-ray player and that disc Mona brought are gone, Ariel. She sighs. I really don't care about that right now. Then she looks at her phone. Hey, it's not Christmas like it was there. We're still in the second weekend of December, like before we went to that other universe. Then she puts her phone down and claps her hands together. You guys don't have to come with me, but I'm going out to the mall. But we're banned from there, Mouse reminds her. I don't care, Mouse. I have to know. Mouse shrugs. Okay, but I'm coming with you. Bailey and I decide to tag along too. Like Ariel said, we gotta know. Ariel calls us an Uber and takes us out to Strickfield Town Center Mall. Once we get dropped off, we waste no time going in. It's just like any other December weekend in Strickfield, packed with people and nearly every store filled and open. Our mall only gets like this around November and December. The rest of the year there are many vacancies. People sometimes say the mall's going to close for good eventually, but it never does. Yeah, all the decorations are still up, Ariel says. Looks like we really made it back home, Bailey replies. It's daylight, and we never saw anybody burning up when they were outside. Then Ariel stops us. Hey, let's go into Caffeine Junction for breakfast. My treat. Mouse, I'm going to buy you the biggest coffee they got. Go on in, you guys. I think Ariel's just glad we're back home and we're all safe. True to her word, she lets us order whatever we want. When Bailey and Ariel both got their orders, they head off to a booth. Now it just leaves Mouse and me to wait for our stuff. Mouse kind of gives me a look that says, she ain't sure about me. Just so you know, I wouldn't have really let you die back there, I tell her. I don't know what Ariel sees in you or what Bailey sees in you, but why do you hate me so much, Mona? Mouse asks. I don't hate you, I tell her. I just don't feel like you belong with us. You're just so weird. Maybe to me, you might be the weird one, she says. You ever thought about that? We just look at each other. When Ariel and Bailey ain't looking, I extend my hand. Truce? Mouse shakes my hand. Truce. I lean in and say, you say anything about this, and I'll deny it. Fair enough. When we get our food, we join the others at the booth. Surprisingly, we make it through the whole length of the mall. Just after Ariel's called us another Uber, Harmony Mirren is right there. She points to Ariel and Mouse. Last I checked, you two are banned from my mall. Tell me right now why I shouldn't bring you to my office and have you both arrested. Ariel and Mouse look at each other. Then Ariel digs into her purse and pulls out receipts. She hands them to her and says, because I wanted to treat my girls to some of your fine establishments. We all ended up having a near-death experience, and I just wanted us to celebrate that we're still alive for another Christmas season. This mall has been our hangout place for a long time. You want to call the police? You go right ahead. But we didn't cause any trouble here. Besides, I thought you liked the idea of people spending money at your mall. Harmony's still holding Ariel's receipts and keeps looking sour at us. Finally, she hands back the receipts. Okay, you two can come back, she says. Then she points sharply at them. You're on probation. In other words, if I ever see Cousin Stuart back in here with you again, you're all going to be permanently banned. Do we understand each other? We all quickly tell her we do. Then Harmony nods once. Okay then, but remember, I'll be watching. Like Santa Claus, I'm always watching. Now that we have our arrangement, out of my sight. I guess money really does talk, Ariel says and snickers when we're far enough away from Harmony. That means you ain't bringing Stuart here ever again, Mouse replies. Then I quickly smack Ariel's arm. What was that for? She demands. Look, I tell her. We see Ariel's mom and her aunt together. With Stuart. When they see us, Ariel's mom points right at her. Run, you guys, Ariel yells. Aunt Margaret wants to hand Stuart off to me. We turn and run for all we're worth. Boy, do we ever hear Ariel's mom and aunt yelling at her. We run straight past Harmony Mirren and right out the mall entrance. We could tell she was about to call out to us, but when she sees Ariel's mom and aunt, and Stuart, she starts going off on both of them now. As soon as we're outside, the Uber's right there. We quickly climb in. Go, Ariel orders him. As soon as the driver pulls away, that's when Ariel's mom and aunt are outside. Ariel rolls down her window and waves to them. Have fun with Stuart, you two! Ariel's mom's going to let her have it when they're both home later, but Ariel really doesn't care about that right now. We needed this, you guys, Ariel says. I know it's not quite the day yet, but after everything we've been through, well, Merry Christmas. We don't hesitate and wish her the same. I think this is why I'm glad we have our group. I still don't think Mouse belongs in it, but Ariel wants her around. She's definitely grown on Bailey. I guess I tolerate her because she don't cause trouble. To be fair, she did risk her life for us, both on Halloween night and last night. In light of that, I'll keep the truce with Mouse. Like I said, I'll deny it if she says anything about it. Besides, Ariel's right. We've all been through the absolute most horrifying experience together to date. I can tell you one thing. It'll be one sleepover none of us will ever forget. But Ariel's right. At least we have another Christmas. Deep down, I'm hoping the Harmony Mirren of that other universe succeeded in destroying that disc. Because if she didn't, no, I don't even want to think about that. It's going to be Christmas soon. Speaking of soon, that's when you'll see us again, and with a new adventure. In the meantime, Merry Christmas!
Well, my spookies, you've survived over 3 hours of terror tales involving the creatures of the night. So I guess you're tougher than you look. Make sure you're subscribed because Weekly Spooky has published over 300 terrifying stories, and we have no intention of slowing down. In fact, remember in October, we publish every single day. So make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcasting app, and if you want to support us, head to weeklyspooky.com/join for as little as $1 a month. Get 2 bonus shows every month, and so much more. But now, it's time for me to retire to my coffin. Until next time, my spookies, I'll see you then.